From the greatest soccer city in America, it's the St. Louis Ambush in the MASL playoffs. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being with us on MASL TV. Joey Zanaboni alongside my best friend, Matt Rocchio. Ambush took care of business against Kansas City in Game 1. Now they try to seal the deal tonight.
And they have to take care of business with that Soccer City USA claim. Going against the biggest rival here in Kansas City, it's a big one. They won Game 1. Can they duplicate the result in Game 2?
The I-70 series back in the MASL playoffs. Will S.K., he had 7 points in this I-70 series.
I don't think we've seen a game like that, what he put up. Can he do it again? Can Daniel Torrealba, if he's back in the lineup, put up something? And also, we got a change in goalie. Pollo put up a great game in Game 1. Now Paulo, the Brazilian Roblo, back in net for the Ambush.
It's the St. Louis Ambush and the Kansas City Comets coming up right after this on MASL TV.
When you have a financial partner that invests in every part of you, you can't help but feel like a star. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
At St. Luke's Heart and Vascular Institute, we understand that care is more than treatment. It's about living your best life. We're nationally recognized as a top heart care provider in the area, and our proud alliance with Cleveland Clinic's Heart, Vascular, and Thoracic Institute enables St. Luke's to take on the most challenging cases for the highest level of outcomes in St. Louis. St. Luke's Heart and Vascular Institute, a beat above the rest for a life beyond expectations. For a first diagnosis or a second opinion, make an appointment today.
MITRE is the official game ball supplier of the Major Arena Soccer League. Established in 1817, MITRE is one of the leading soccer brands worldwide and produces some of the best soccer balls in the world. Learn more at mitre.com. Capelli Sport is the official and exclusive preferred uniform and apparel provider of the Major Arena Soccer League. Visit MASLsoccer.com to shop the all-new MASL fan store for the latest MASL and team gear. Think you can predict the MASL? Head over to NXTbets.com to place your wagers on all the MASL action this season.
Let's kick the tires, let's light the fires. It's MASL playoff time at the Family Arena, thanks to Ansley Haar, who sings the national anthem in front of a good Ambush crowd at the Family Arena, Axios Field in St. Charles. That's Stefan Stokic hugging MASL Coach of the Year finalist, Jeff Locker. Stokic helming a Kansas City team that needs to force a mini game tonight. Involved in this program for so many years, playing, coaching, and now Jeff Locker in his 5th year with the Ambush. 3 of those 5 years, the franchise has been in the playoffs. Prior to that, only once in the last 8. owner, head coach, he's looking to finish it out without the need for that 15-minute mini game. I'm Joey Zanaboni. Alongside me, as always, Matt Rocchio. And this place is buzzing, isn't it, Matt?
Absolutely. Midweek game as the Ambush try to vanquish their rivals and move on to a tough semifinal matchup against number 1 seed Sockers.
And Ambush, hey, how about this? Have played well on Wednesdays this year, 1-0 in Wednesday games. So there's a precedent. Tonight, the Ambush with Paulo in net after Pollo Cortez got the win in game number 1. Paulo, an MASL Goalkeeper of the Year finalist, getting loose. The Brazilian Rob Lowe with the best season of his career at the age of 40. The Kansas City Comets, they know about tandem goalkeepers as well. They had Ejimadu play in the first game, and then Neto, and Neto was his usual self, right, Rocchio?
Yep.
And now they're back to Neto in game number 2.
Yeah, very interesting call there. Is there an injury? Why are they making this change? Ejimadu really sealed himself after such a long run of Neto as the starting goaltender, but they make the change late in the game as the Ambush are up big, and they keep the change going here after the drive across town. How much will that be a factor in both the Ambush's offense and Comets' defensive game?
If you missed it on Monday, Ambush were up 8-1 after 3 and won it 9-4. Ejimadu took the loss in that game. Pollo got the W. Will S.K. had 7 points. The Ambush were without Daniel Torrealba in game number 1. They will be without him for game number 2 as well, though he is here in the building. KC on the other side, a little bit of a different look than what we've seen in years past. Still sturdy, but are there signs of cracks? This point in the season, this team has beat up Kansas City with the physical style, and they've paid a price.
Yes, they do. They play a physical style. They try to rally you up. Can they do that against the Ambush today? Again, this is not a cumulative thing. It's just one game or not. So, doesn't matter how many goals the Ambush won by. It just matters if they win by 1 today. And then, of course, if the Comets can take this victory, we go on to that 15-minute mini game and decide who moves on to face off against the regular season champions.
St. Louis and Kansas City, the Major Arena Soccer League on MASL TV. Thanks for being with us for the final quarterfinal game, or perhaps games, in this round. Milwaukee has already punched its ticket. It will take on the Baltimore Blast. Winner of this one gets the San Diego Sockers in the league final. Everybody chasing that Ron Newman trophy. The cup is up for grabs, and the Ambush looking to advance here tonight against their arch, and yet non-arch, because they don't have an arch over there in Kansas City, rivals.
Exactly, and one of the big parts of this rivalry will be the return of Lucas Almeida. They lost him for the big chunk of the season. He returned for the playoffs, put up 3 assists. You see him there hugging former teammate Zach Reggett. Lucas Almeida back in the lineup for the Ambush already. The pass master of last season, putting in some incredible work in those 3 assists on Monday. Can he continue to impact this Ambush team, not just with his passing, but also always that veteran leadership and the calming presence he brings to this lineup?
He's off to Riley Uri's left, and Uri canals it back to Jeff Michaud. To El Abuelo. Almeida letting loose in transition, looking for the start of the last one, Will S.K. Thwarted by KC, Dom Francis, who scored twice for them on Monday, tries to email it downfield, and Jeff Michaud right there waiting for it. He's got Christian Briggs out wide. St. Louis trying to knock KC out of the playoffs for the first time since 1998. The teams met in 2021 in the playoffs. KC won that. Early decade dominance by the guys from down I-70, but the Ambush are the emergent team this season in the MASL. Drop back through Paulo. Led the league in basically every category. Lasers long for John Gates. Ryan Quito scurries over to pick up the change. Quito penned against the wall, trying to twist it back to Rob Williamson. Williamson stepping on the gold line. Gates off the wall, back to James Togba. Former Comet. Oh, good little touch from Quito. Maybe a bit behind JT Thomas. And Thomas runs it down. Ambush still on the attack. Williamson, that's blocked. And Pino pokes it back. KC with the ball in their half. Minute plus into it. Ambush KC. Quarterfinal round. Joey Zanaboni alongside Matt Rocchio.
Ambush are going to want to play this game fast. That's where they have an advantage on this KC squad. It was with the speed, the quickness, their ability to overwhelm them in waves. Can the ambush settle in that kind of attack, or can the Comets slow things down and win this game with precision players like Nacho, Vandergriff, Rion Marquez, league leader in points, by the way.
At their pace now, Vandergriff, who led the league in blocks, seems like he does that every year.
Incredible, by about 20 over number 2, who was Big Rob Williamson.
And we saw a Vandergriff jersey. We've seen some Williamson apparel as
That was
well
a pretty
around
sick Vandergriff jersey.
Family Arena. Chad is from St. Louis. Rion Marquez, perhaps the league MVP. Little ballet step. Andreos, Gates, and Amati trying to close him down, and Andreos goes to the turf, it's against him.
Yeah, tap the head a little bit, but gotta watch the tackles. That's what it'll do.
Almeida on the ball. 3 assists in the last game. He led the league. Not this regular season, but last regular season in assists. Been dealing with a lower body injury over the last few months. Talked to Donnie Alberti, and he said it just means so much to him. Veteran presence. A huge part of why the Ambush won that first one earlier this week.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody in this building who wants this win more than Lucas Almeida. Guy who's played this team so many times, lost a playoff series, the only time that these two teams matched up in the playoffs in MASL history. Obviously have matched up in the playoffs very many times across very many leagues, including one time in outdoors since that playoff matchup in 2021. So Almeida, he's witnessed it all, and you know he wants this one.
Stop and go by Yuri. Vandergriff swordfishes it. Yuri still in the corner, trying to popcorn it out to Martinez. SK comes to the rescue. Randy trying to go up board. Disrupted by David Stankovic. Chased out of the KC end. Still pursuing Henry Ramirez. Williamson swirls it back through Paulo. Randy Martinez launching. 11:48 to go in the quarter. SK table tennises it right back. Almeida to the right foot and gets it stuck away by Stankovic. KC, they are 5-3 all time against the Ambush in the playoffs. As Matt was saying, this is the second time these two teams have met in the MASL playoffs. Michaud looking for Thomas. Lucia Tetsane against Jeff Michaud. Tetsane to Andreos. Gets caught up on his feet. Thomas bulldozes it away. Michaud looking to insert for Thomas. Too long, and it's picked up by the big hands of Nicolau Neto.
Gotta wonder what Jeff Michaud was thinking on that one. Just no juice. Neto is such a big body. You're not going to get many past him in the first place, let alone soft ones from 30 yards out.
Maybe looking to get Thomas going. Thomas did score. He's another vet. Put in a goal on an SK assist on the blue turf over in Independence Mo. Slip through, kind of a similar ball that he scored on. Francis puts it across the face of goal. Intended target was Nathan Dirtle. Tetsane, airlift. Reget splashes off the window pane in those pink boots. Tetsane can't keep it. Gates yanked it away initially. Michaud gets a boot in there. Kido, good pace. Kido. Ambush lead!
Incredible goal. Ryan Kidu did not have one in his 9 games played in the regular season. Picked up an assist on Monday, but adds his first playoff goal and first goal of the 2026 season, all on his lonesome. Takes that one in, move left to right, and then does the exact opposite with the ball, putting that one in right to left, right past Nicolau Neto.
Utilizing the biggest advantage the Ambush have.
Speed.
Certainly against this KC team. And he is the first to sign a Seidman Cancer Center ball and give it to the fans.
Kidu gets kind of diagonal left to right in midfield, and then just, slides. Just blur straight past the midfield of Kansas City And then really, the run's impressive, but Joey putting that kind of shot across
Perfect
Neto,
shot.
when he's got nobody really framing him anyway, no one's knocked him off his mark, he's locked in on Neto, or he's locked in on Kidu from midfield, and somehow you still put it past him. For a guy like that, first career playoff goal, an incredible step-up young moment for the young man, Ryan Kidu.
Comes just inside the first 5 minutes of this ball game. Keto with his first of the playoffs. Ambush with the advantage. Never trailed on Monday, so have never trailed in the series. It was 1-1 on Monday. Ander Reyes had an answer goal. Then the Ambush reeled off 7 straight to make it 8-1 after 3 quarters. En route to that 9-4 victory. Williamson, Tagba, Lennis and Van de Griff just probing into the St. Louis end. Will SK, who's got plenty of support from his usual supporters, plus the St. Louis Stars Soccer Club, who he coaches for. They're out in force tonight. Had a great tailgate before the game. Swishes it over. Amati fights through against Lennis. Chested by Neto. His sternum gets in the way.
Ambush, when they scored first here in the regular season, 8-3-3. So they were always at least, if they scored first, they were really only out of the game 3 out of 14 times. That's a pretty incredible
Gates.
number.
Oh,
The young
took on
guys,
everybody. Last of them was Van de Griff, then pelted the shot just north of the upper 90. Was that a handball on the way out?
looks like they're going to get it late called. But man, I tell you what, if the young guys like Kidu and Gates can give the Ambush an early 2-0 lead, that would be such a boon.
Yeah, after the Souza handball, Ambush in a good position. And Souza, a couple of fouls, and Briggs, SK. Falzone, MASL Newcomer of the Year candidates, is by the goal line. Michaud.
These restarts for Almeida are one of the biggest reasons having him back is such a big thing for the Ambush. Not going to be an impact on that one, but wait till they get closer.
Michaud, he parachutes that one up over the glass.
That'll happen.
And you're right, Almeida has such an intuitive sense of how this team works. Getting him on the ball like that can unlock things in a hurry for an Ambush team that's already up 1-0.
Huge lead for the Ambush. Again, go through the numbers, the mindset, knowing that you got a little cushion already being up 1-0, both in the series now and in the game. No white knuckling here necessary for the Ambush. Play free, play flowy, play fast, and you'll win this game.
Polo!
That helps too.
Rob's Nacho. Reagan is wearing the armband tonight. It's been a switch. And there are the citizens of the online world who have been upset that Nacho no longer has that armband. I'm not sure how consequential it is. Reagan still out there with Nacho after helping him to set it up on a plate. Paulo deprives his first save of the night. KC looking for an equalizer about halfway through the first quarter. MASL playoffs, MASL TV. Tetsane steps over. Tetsane puppeteers it. Chips it over to Reagan. Maybe a little bit hopeful there. Souza, that stays in for him after stripping SK to Marquez. Their bread and butter play. Williamson holds it up. Tetsane launches. Off the glass, Reagan slams it. And the man who won the MASL Rookie of the Year is a member of the Ambush, Reagan. He sets the Ambush with a goalkeeper distribution up in the back. Reagan here in the late 2010s, very early 2020s. 1 year for the Ambush. And down to the tropics, Florida. Found his way eventually to KC.
Really not a great move by the Ambush back in the day. That was his worst scoring season, points per game, 32 points. He has some injuries, so he had some low scoring seasons, but just points per game.
Put it to bed, right?
That rookie year was the lowest scoring year he had. All he's done is get better. Risky move sometimes.
Briggs to Amati. Thomas resuscitates it with Gates. Briggs, another guy with Paulo and Michaud. You could say had a renaissance season this year. Long-time Ambush guy. You know it means a lot to him. Gates, he goes back to his father's playing days, the 90s with the St. Louis Ambush. Mario Falzone, the Scotsman who's set the league on fire, playing back through Almeida. You know they have their eyes on Falzone. He opened the scoring for the Ambush in Independence, and they've got the Secret Service defense on him with Van de Griff. Williamson, Almeida, parabolas. Gates didn't quite judge the spin and the bounce. 6:42 remaining in the first. Ambush 1. Kansas City Comets nothing. You're watching the Major Arena Soccer League playoffs on MASL TV.
MASLsoccer.com, your ultimate home for everything Major Arena Soccer League. Catch the latest news, leaderboards, highlights, and so much more. Tune in to Soccer Signal as staff writer Joseph Reyna and veteran coach Mark Litton explain the game with perspectives from both sides of the glass. Don't miss Soccer Signal every other Thursday on MASL TV.
Downtown STL. From the Gateway Arch. Out here to Family Arena just across the Missouri River in St. Charles. It's the Ambush and the KC Comets' longtime rivals meeting in playoff mode. Nicolau Neto prods one forward, way away from his roost. Briggs, Yuri! Scooped up by Guerrero Pino off the window pane. Ambush up 1-0, courtesy of a goal, a do-it-yourself one from Quito. Marquez against Williamson. What a battle this is. Slipped it around Williamson, but right to Colin O'Keefe. Clearance only as far as Pino. Tetsane up the wall. Tetsane. Marquez from the edge of the box. Turned away by Togba. Nobody in the neighborhood for the Wallace score attempt. Ure back to Williamson. Quarterbacking. Good fine transition. O'Keefe.
Ure up the middle.
Ure, top of the bow and arrow. Toenail clipper to the floor. Marquez disrupted just enough. Souza and Tetsane.
Pass was a little late. Uri had to slow down and recollect. Probably wouldn't have been that good of an attempt, but anything running like that on a 3-on-2, quick punch like that would have been nice.
Quito was up there with him as well. Now on the defensive end, he slips in for a steal against Rankett. Martinez with Quito, forward to SK. Vandegrift blockades things for now. Chile. Randy. Good idea. SK almost got to it.
They just look faster than the Comets for a second time in a row, Joey. That was the big thing on Monday. They just looked faster than the Comets. And so far, through these first 11 minutes, that's the case as well.
Reagan receives one on the lily pad from Guerrero Pino. The initial pass off the side intended for SK, picked off by Lennis, who's weaving his way across the equator with 4.5 to go in the first. Ambush 1, Kansas City nada. If this game goes to Kansas City, we will start a 15-minute mini game. You play the full 15 minutes. After that, it would be sudden death overtime to determine who advances to play the Sockers. Williamson disrupting. Thomas took a hit there from Tetsane. Williamson sees an opportunity, though. Williamson forward. Didn't time this right with Mershad Amadi. Amadi chasing Tetsane. Calm and cool back through Neto. Ambush have certainly been on the front foot against this Kansas City team. Different styles, different players. And Ambush have been able to do a lot more of what they've wanted than this Kansas City team has been able to do.
Need to have a little bit more to show for it if you're going to keep playing this style. Continue to open up chances, but you got to be a little bit more clinical when you get those chances.
Nacho's mad. Thought maybe Dominic Francis should have tracked that down, I believe. Now Michon, 4 heads, 1 forward. Amadi bumping with Nacho. Gates over the top. Sends a fishing line. Falzone trying to shake Vandegrift. Falzone hits it into the legs of the league leader in blocks. Michon stopped by an intrepid Andorreos. Briggs will start it again in the back as we drizzle toward that 3-minute mark.
Perfect time to get Almeida back out there. He's got Falzone singled up deep near the box. Now Keefe, Michaud, and Briggs. Good defensive unit, but Briggs.
Stankovic.
Mistake there.
Paulo, perfect positioning to play it off the wall. Briggs, good job to make it difficult after losing the ball. Stankovic is a tough customer. Midfielder out of Wiley, Texas. They make him Wiley down in Wiley. Michaud. Briggs. He thought Ejimadu was still playing goal. He sent it all the way to Ejimadu on the bench. 2:32. Ambush 1. KC nothing. You ever been down to Wiley, Texas?
Can't say I have. Then again, can't say I know where it is.
When they release that Wiley Coyote movie, that place is going to be going nuts. Tetsane gets it back. Chili Willie steps over. Got the block after Marquez fed him, and then SK is called for a soft foul. I think some of those boos belong to our friends from the St. Louis Stars. Jim Tebow, Matt Holsey. A lot of coaches out here. Francis Long, just wide as Paulo dove after it. Marquez went down to the turf to try to get a second whack at it.
Yeah, launched that one from Huddersfield, almost put it in.
Martinez supple against Nacho. Now SK coasts it forward. Over to Randy. Just misses. Randy Martinez inches above the pink bar. Will stay 1-0.
Man, Nicolau Neto played that perfectly. Did not move before the shot came. Kept himself big. Gets that big, big paw right on that one. All 6'4", 210. Getting in the frame of that one to save that one for the Comets. Could have easily been 2-0 there. Great play by the Ambush on the way down, but a better save by the Comets goaltender.
Out wide. Kansas City with the ball. Vandegrift. Bray Holliman getting a run here. Souza, Dirtle. Ray gets up top.
We also got a generational rivalry here. Both DeBray Holliman and Jonathan Gates' dads played for the respective predecessors of these two franchises.
Legacy matchup.
Yeah, a little legacy rivalry, I think we could say.
Racketed it through. Yuri waits right off the wall. Yuri still fighting. Squirts well wide. Keto back through Gates. $1.14 left in the change jar. Ambush up by an ace. Gates. Gates.
Oh, Ambush
almost the tippity top of the bar. Falzone on a second chance shoulders it to Neto, who makes the catch on the pop fly.
Appeared to be a little confusion on the Comets bench on whether or not they were shifting or who they were, because 3 players went to the bench and left John Gates a wide open take that almost allowed another goal. Kind of a crazy mistake there almost by the Comets. A couple they've made here in the first. Hasn't bit them yet.
Rian Marquez into the slot. James Togba gets the blue boot back to it. And Vandegrift's like, what did I do? But he sent Gates down hard, perhaps with the elbow.
What did I do? The answer would be put an elbow in the back of a man's neck.
Can't do that. Chad's a good guy. He's competed in the TST tournament. And the Ambush are going to have the Ambush Stars competing in that tournament. Make sure you check it out this summer.
Great video work by the boys in the booth.
Fantastic.
Also, good camera angle right there.
Paulo under 30. Martinez flicking a backheader. O'Keefe picks up the pieces. Collin looking for Falzone. Headed out, Almeida came crashing, but overran the ball. Martinez.
Talk about overrunning the ball.
Almeida went for the flick. Pino on the steal. 12 seconds now. Falzone sticks a boot back, and the ball goes all the way down the alley to Paulo. 5 seconds. Ambush will head into the first break with a 1-0 lead at Family Arena. It's the MASL playoffs. Ambush 3/4 away from advancing on MASL TV.
Here's what I'm thinking about the living room. Double hung windows are classics, but what do you think about casement windows? Or maybe sliding windows? Or even a big bay window? With all the styles Window World offers, I've got tons of options that match my taste and budget perfectly.
Which will you choose?
I might need another house or two.
Catch MASL Monday every Monday night on MASL TV and on CBS Sports Golazo Network. Alex Bostavansky and Phil Levanko are joined each week by special guests from across the league to recap the weekend's games and discuss the league's hot topics. 10 for 10 is back with host Eric Bergrud. New episodes drop Wednesdays on MASL TV.
Louis IX, Ryan Kido. Kido has done a fantastic job to embody the principles that this offense runs by, and he ran it himself off to the side of the box, then cranked a shot about 5 minutes into the game that beat Nicolau Neto. Never had a chance. Another scoreless quarter to add to his resume as well. Paulo.
Can they keep the sheet clean here? Keep the shutout going? Obviously, at some point tonight it will end, but for the Ambush, lockdown defense here in the first, just 2 shots on goal to the 6 they produced.
It was kind of close at half in Independence, Missouri on Monday. 3-1 Ambush led there after the teams finished the first quarter 1-1. Tonight,
It's crazy the way that games are decided in the third quarter in this sport. It seems just so consistently that third quarter is when everything breaks one way or another.
5 goals for the Ambush in the third. Didn't really need anything more in the fourth, but still got one as Kansas City piled up penalty after penalty.
And 6th attacker goal after 6th attacker goal.
Had a little something going out there, right? With Reagan as the 6th attacker, I suppose.
Picked up 3 of their 4 there with the extra man on.
Francis stripped by SK, and he goes down. His team was going to get a turnover on an errant Ambush exit pass, but play is stopped as Francis does take the tumble. SK got him, And Francis, who scored twice on Monday, he hobbles back to the bench as Nacho starts it. Marquez takes it out wide. KC averaged 6.7 goals this season, about one more than the Ambush. Marquez, who is second in the league in goals, fought it to Vandegrift. Paulo bobsleds out, and Vandegrift, he comes plowing through. Yuri down in front of Paulo.
Bad tackle from Riley Yuri. A couple inches away from giving him a easy run up on a penalty in front of Paulo, but just outside the box. And a juicy chance here for the Comets. And they're actually going to make an odd decision, in my opinion, that Sane in for Souza. I feel like Souza's the guy you really want in there in these restarts, but
set up just upfield, top of the box from Nacho, who's going to put the key in the ignition. Nacho creeps to it, rolls it. Tetsane hammers it over a sliding Paulo, and we're tied 1-1. A minute 15 into the second.
Well, that shows you what I know. Perfect play set up there by the Comets. They just roll that one easily. Tetsane, I guess that powerful left foot of Lacia is really what they wanted there. And he just hammers that one right in the little pocket between Riley Yuri and Paulo. He also elevates it very well, gets it past any potential of the man on the goal line being able to stop that one. 1-1 just like that, thanks to a little lazy defending from the Ambush.
Fans, the Ambush have announced and are taking orders for 2026-2027 season tickets and partial season tickets. Benefits for season ticket holders include free parking and guaranteed promo items. Stay tuned to Ambush social media and stlambush.com. As we finish this season, Ambush would be back in action. Not this weekend, but the next one against San Diego. And then after the April 17th, 19th semifinals, hopefully in the April 24th, 26th finals as well. Tagba in this 1-1 game. Thomas, turnaround, tries to jackrabbit it through, but Chad Vandegrift thighs it up in the air for Neto to snatch. Rian Marquez pirouetting through Thomas and Williamson against Tagba. Tagba got a little piece. Marquez so sturdy with the ball. Tagba knows him well. Former teammate hops in front of him to block that. Marquez held up by O'Keefe. No call yet, and now a whistle comes out for an injured player on the wall. So Marquez was looking for a foul, and I won't say he has a case, but he kind of has a case.
He has a
Francis
case, definitely.
Is down.
And the problem with the close official had taken his eyes off the ball to check on Dom Francis, who was down on the ground. And that's why if you're Dom Francis, you don't necessarily gain an advantage in that situation from playing up the injury because you lost out the chance of getting a penalty in your favor had the official been able to keep his eyes on the play. Because that's a clean tackle right there by O'Keefe.
Definitely.
And O'Keefe definitely spun him down there. That's definitely a stoppage in favor of the Comets. This should be the Comets' ball, but Dom Francis hurt them by playing up that very legal tackle by Colin O'Keefe.
In the nameplates. Yeah, and I agree. He maybe tried to sell that a little bit.
Yeah, pop back up. Officials' eyes are on the play.
And tonight's officiating crew is led by Josh Wilkins. Ambush turning the tide. Ooh. Williamson, Tetsane slid in front. Big Rob ice picks it through the middle. Falzone not able to receive clean against Dirtle. And now Peloton's one. Half bicycle kick over his head into the waiting mitts of Nicolau Neto. Souza. Randy Martinez got in the way. Briggs tipped off of Marquez, and the Ambush will keep possession. Restart in the back. 11:56 into the second, tied 1-1.
No Almeida on this restart for the Ambush as it's deep in their own area. But they have plenty of speed, the young guns. Gates and Kidu, Riley Yuri, the sprinter on the team. All out right now on the carpet.
Michon, he's fast as well, close to Briggs, who chops it downfield. Quito, the goal scorer, off his head and off Pino's. Back to Nicolau Neto. In Kansas City finished the regular season 12-6-6. Ambush 13-5-6. Both teams had matchups against West Coast teams with opportunities to win the Shield. Final weekend of the season, neither one could get it done. 1, 2, and 3 teams are through. It'll be either 4 or 5 to join them. Gates for the 4 team. Keto, Gates. It just got over Lennis. Gates.
What a pass, though, Joey.
Yeah.
My Lord.
Got it bottled a little bit on the wall. Williamson. The shot! Had an open goal. Shouldered by Williamson, looking for Gates and stolen by Pino.
And there's the precision that the ambush are missing that's keeping them from having a lead in this game. It continues. Could be a 2 or 3 game performance for this offense, but instead stuck on 1 and stuck in a tie game.
Pino. Shuffleboards to Marquez. Marquez contributed on 42% of Kansas City goals this season. Looking to tic-tac-toe it through the middle. Keto sweeps it away from Francis. Neto out of his roost. 10:37 left in the first. Ambush, KC 1-1. Number 1-1, Tetsane. Pitching to Marquez.
He's going to want to take Marquez away from the middle. No middle policy. It's kind of how they want to play Rion, so they'll take that right there.
Yeah, that's their bread and butter, they say. Going to Marquez in the box, letting him fight through. And Arreos elevating Michaud.
Yeah, Michaud, you got to watch that there. That's dangerous. You can't be.
Windshield wipered him down.
Yeah. And Arreos.
And Arreos is like, where's the call?
He's absolutely right. You cannot just be pushing a guy in midair like that.
It's
That's
the
a dangerous
playoffs,
play.
baby. Let him get out there.
That is one of the most dangerous
Paulo
plays
getting out
in
there
this
and firing
sport.
it out of bounds.
Guy goes up. He's moving his head. He's taking himself a little bit over his skis a little bit, if you will. You push him, the chance that he's coming down parallel to the ground is too high. You cannot be pulling that. Surprised that he didn't get a whistle there.
Ambush, game worn 2025-2026 season teal jerseys available for bid now. Jerseys will be autographed at the conclusion of the season, allow you to get your piece of Ambush history. Check out the link on socials or go to stlambush.com.
We've gotten some crazy light whistles, but they've let some really weird stuff play.
Tetsane off the restart. Down low. Falzone against Tetsane. Long ball intended for Reagan. Togba, Nacho stuck a knee in him and bowls him over. KC, they're the ones that are mad about this call.
I just want to let that one play. That was a lot of physicality on both sides. Don't really know who was to blame for that one. Tog was playing the ball. Nacho does get a little bit high. Togba probably stayed connected a little bit longer than he needed to on the fall.
Yuri now draws a whistle.
Whistle.
Van de Graaf, we tell you the crew chief is Josh Wilkins. Arturo Ibarra is the referee. Matthew Stein is the assistant. Matt Geringer is the 4th official. Joseph Hayden, Lucas Cross, the penalty box, and Jacob Post and Noah Stuckey are your goal officials. That's an interesting combo of names for goal officials, right? Post, Stuckey.
Oh, yeah, I like that. It's kind of like how the Cardinals have a reliever named Blewett.
That's right. Rian Marquez. Yuri. Marquez chips away at him and gets called for a foul.
See, again, man, I mean, you're 2-on-3. You got a body. You got Randy Martinez
Ooh,
right
Almeida
there.
quickly to Thomas. They don't whistle it back. SK comes
play.
busting through and maybe went too quick there.
Stay with the play.
And Marquez is calling for 6 men on the field against the ambush, I believe. Referees are going to get together and talk this over. KC has pled its case and more. 8:54 to go in the quarter, 1-1 here in the second. Thanks to our friends at Hot Shots for providing the cowbells tonight. Good noise at Family Arena.
I think they got a good call here, and it's Lucas Almeida maybe made a mistake. The veteran presence, but unfortunately may have overlooked an extra man off the bench.
St. Louis, 2-minute power play. Too many men.
And to clarify, I think that this is going to go against St. Louis. It's phrased a bit awkwardly, but I think there's a point to it. Josh Wilkins On the microphone, representing the refereeing crew, Ambush will be down a man against the team that has the best power play in the MASL. Kansas City, they give it, they get it. They've got 3 guys who have at least 30 fouls this year. They do really well on the power play. They take advantage of being a man up, especially with their physical style.
Ambush, like the rest of this game plan, it's all going to be about speed. 4 men out there, you're going to be outnumbered. Can they put pressure on the 5 man out there? And again, it's not a power play, but when Kansas City had the extra man on the floor on Monday, they scored 3 goals in that 4th quarter. So can the Ambush successfully pressure the ball down a man 5v4 after the success that Kansas City had end of last game?
Penalty assessed against the Ambush as a team, and Rashad Amati, the man to serve it in the box. 1 on Exile Island for St. Louis. And it's a 1-1 game. Little shy of the media timeout 2nd quarter. Tetsane Reget. Marquez is posted up top of the bow and arrow. Francis down low, and at the gold line it's Nacho Flores. Crocheting at the top. Talk about aggressive
risky
against Reget. Almost swordfished it away. Reget able to preserve it with Tetsane. 30 seconds into it. Marquez. SK this time, bumper cars it away.
Right now, the only thing that matters is 76 seconds for the Ambush.
KC, 40% on the power play this season converted. Ambush stopping 68% of power plays this year, thanks to plays like that from Paulo. Dives out of the post on the offering from Francis. Ultimately tosses a bucket of water on the remaining Embers. 54 seconds to go in the kill for the Ambush. Tetsane wins it on the clearance. O'Keefe pestering up top. O'Keefe, SK, Michaud, and Rob Williamson out there with Paulo. First power play either team in the game. Francis. Williamson cut the cord. Paulo cuts what's left of it.
25 seconds left on this penalty. Another chance here.
Reget zigzags one to Rion. Paulo got a piece on the shot by Nacho. And it's turned away off the goal line.
10 seconds still. One more chance here for the Comets potentially before Amati gets the rush in. 5.
Francis off the wall. Just ping pong work for Apollo.
Massive.
Amati comes back after Paulo got an initial stop on the best chance there from Nacho Flores. I'm sure we'll see a replay on that very soon. Ambush killed a penalty.
Knuckles got to be a little white after that one. Comets, a little bit of the mo so far in this game as they have tied this up 1 apiece and have the Ambush on the back heels even though things have evened out 5-on-5.
Tetsane. The Squirrels went away downfield. Briggs, Reget grapples with him. Clearance to Nacho, off the board. Briggs won't let it leak through. Just over 6 to go. Number 6, Riley Urey trying to chase it down. Kansas City will have it on a free kick in the back. 6:09 left in the second. 1-1 game thanks to Apollo and Colin O'Keefe. Sternums it off the inside of the pink post. They keep us tied on MASL TV.
I got hurt in a car wreck. Why should I call DM Law?
Because whether you have a $10,000 fender bender or a multi-million-dollar case, we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve. A client of ours was in a wreck and had a minor head injury. We were still able to put over $23,000 in his pocket. Another client of ours had a severe leg injury, and we got them $1.1 million.
Big case or small, Mike's got this.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me. I've got this.
Hurt in a car wreck? Call 405-900-9000.
At St. Luke's Heart and Vascular Institute, we understand that care is more than treatment. It's about living your best life. St. Luke's alliance with Cleveland Clinic's Heart, Vascular, and Thoracic Institute enables us to take on the most challenging cases. Make an appointment today.
Ambush Comets halfway through the second quarter. Paulo and co turn away a couple of power play opportunities. Comets were trying to take advantage of a too many men on the field penalty against St. Louis. Rian Marquez, as we get restarted, 5-on-5, looking to barrel through. Gates went down briefly. Yuri trying to win it against Andreas. Hatcheted back through Vandegrift, placed all the way to Neto. Joey Zanabone alongside Matt Rocchio. Amadi was being bothered in the midfield. Ambush will be set up on a free kick.
Almeida's going to come out for this one. James Thomas, Colin O'Keefe, Togba, and Williamson, the five-man group for the ambush.
Togba, butter knives downfield. Pino sticks a boot in. Andreas gets a lasso on it. Almeida gets in the way at the yellow line.
The Comets are going to get Stankovic out of there. You got Pino, you got Vandergriff. Now they're going to get Reagan out there as well. Dangerous group here with Ramirez.
Dirtle. Pino, Vandegrift appears out wide. O'Keefe.
Good run by Dirtle.
Togba.
Inches away from getting the second goal there for the Comets.
O'Keefe made the pass difficult, and Togba cut it out. James Togba, Colin O'Keefe, both playing well. Ramirez. And Thomas pounces on it after the defense from Almeida. O'Keefe trying to slow it down. Williamson boosts it. Falzone was trying to get off the bench. Ramirez on the pick. Lennis out wide. Michael Lennis, not a great touch. Uses the escape hatch with Pino. 4:20 to go in the second. KC and St. Louis. Francis give and go from Reagit. Almeida makes it Knoll. Looking to feed downfield for Falzone. Stolen by Tetsane. Played through Neto. Licks a stamp for Lennis. Quito forked it away, but Lennis went down. Quito gives him a playful pat. Quito has the goal in the game for St. Louis. Nacho through Marquez. Togba stays with it. Octopusses it away. Here's SK down the runway. SK rips it wide. Yuri on the second chance. Get off the wall behind Neto. Briggs.
First shot on goal for the ambush in the second quarter. Been just silent for the most part, putting them on frame.
Yuri.
Gonna be a good chance here though.
Tetsane just beyond the bow and arrow. Now the ambush are going to be set up well.
Almeida going to be licking his chops for this one. Let's see what the setup is here, Joey. We'll have
SK and Michon out wide left in the corner.
The wall, big Rian Marquez is, of course, going to try to take away that angle, as is the league leader in blocks, Chad Vandergriff. But, man, he's got SK right there to his left.
Thomas is on the goal line. Briggs is lateral to the right. It goes to Briggs' left foot. And it gets blocked by a tumbling Nacho and Francis before Almeida gets demolished in the corner by Neto.
Yeah, another one where just go a little
Thomas.
high on the header.
Yeah, check that Thomas got demolished, I should say.
Yeah, a little high there on the header from Neto. Got his arms a little bit in the back of the head of the ambush player. And another juicy chance here. Thomas and SK perfectly lined up to the left.
Almeida back to Thomas. Stuff Briggs! Ambush lead!
Big goal for the St. Louis Ambush. Take a lead there. Great job following up on the first attempt. They haven't got a lot of these this year, whether or not I'm talking about set-piece goals or really good rebounds, but you see it here. Almeida puts it to Thomas. The jumble of Kansas City bodies trying to make sure they get that block leaves the weak side open, and the St. Louis Billiken alum, Christian Briggs, puts in a massive goal. His 6th of the season and his first playoff goal of his career.
Briggs, he gives the Ambush their second lead of the game. Initially took the shot off the free kick sequence up top. Fitting that he should be the one to put the punctuation mark on it. Amadi won it against Regetz, Vandegrift, Souza, and Areos off the back of Gates. Kangaroos over Martinez. Gates tried to clear it. Hollywood got it away. Oh, Regetz the prop by Paulo. Oh, I haven't seen defense that crazy since Chapel Road's bodyguard was wandering around the Old Navy for kids. Swats it away from the line after the big save against the big gun, Reagan from up top.
Unbelievable by Paulo. Gets just enough to stop it, turns around, flips the hips lightly for the man in his 40s, and then just smacks it away. Great job by the Ambush cleaning it up from there. Good clearance from John Gates.
Just 3 months from birthday 41. Paulo is spry as ever. And I wanted him on the MVP finalist list. Elevation in the corner. Dirtle off the top of his blonde locks last. He's not among the 3 MVP finalists, but he is the MASL Goalkeeper of the Year finalist. And I think we can say the MASL Goalkeeper of the Year. That does seem to be, in my unofficial polling, the sentiment around the league. Now, of course, most of the people I talk with are the Ambush, as you know, Rockio, but
maybe colors the voting a little bit.
There's been some other broadcasters who have sung his praises on what he's done, and those awards sometimes can be career achievement awards in some ways as well, and certainly he has made a lot of great saves through the years. So the Ambush, Ramirez, Paulo's like, where's the foul there? Almeida pursued the ball. He gets called for the foul. First foul on Lucas. Ambush 2, Comets 1. $1.44 left in the second. Williamson manicured it. Martinez springs it. Falzone in a collision with Souza. Falzone immediately up, pursuing the ball. Making it difficult for Neto.
Good cross there by Reagan to free it up.
Less than 90 seconds to go before halftime. We'll have stats, highlights from around the league, plus plenty more during our halftime break. Reagan slashed away by Quito, but I guess O'Keefe is called for a hold here. Yeah, he can't believe it either.
Really good chance here for the Comets potentially to even this up before we go into the break. Nacho, he's got Rion to his left. Regetz weak side on the corner now, and they're going to take that side, actually strong side.
Nacho gives to front of the corner, and it slips under Paul.
What a goal by Chad Vandergrift. Pure power, even though Paulo gets his hand on it.
Dom Francis smacks it home, and Paulo got a little piece. Fans are not thrilled. I just don't know that they have the justification on the foul. The goal is what it is.
Power shot by Francis.
But the fans are booing the initial call from the referees that set them up on the free kick. Dom Francis now 3 goals in the series. We are evened up 2-2. See if the Ambush have another spark before the half is over. Clock will stop with 66 seconds left. Samadi and Vandegrift.
Big change.
Ambush gets a foul.
Ambush have allowed 2 goals on really easy, close set pieces and restarts by the Comets. You got to get smarter, play better defense around your box, and this game would be different.
Timeout out of the back. Final minutes, first half. SK back through Tugba. Tugba, Unicorn horns it down. Got pushed. That's clear from Lennis. 49 ticks left. He sets up just beyond the top of the arc. Three-man wall for KC. Breaks off to the right. Thomas by the post. Michaud. He's off to the left with SK. SK lets it pass through Michaud. Stoned by the mitts of Neto, who's fired up and more. Bangs the glass one more time for good measure. Almeida on the corner once again for the ambush. Michaud far post. Briggs blocked once. Michaud! Stopped by Pino at the post. SK into Pino again. Pings away 35 seconds.
Unbelievable defense by the Comets. Pino just right where he needed to be every time.
Stankovic misses high and wide. Vandegrift 25 seconds. Lennis. Pino, KC sets up for a last opportunity in this first half. Francis, Vandegrift. Lennis off the wall, 8 seconds. Fronted by Briggs. Give back Francis. Cranks from deep. Another chance, not as much mustard on it. Thomas gets it out in the shot in the final seconds. Won't get a shot away. Ambush 2. Comets 2. This feels like playoff soccer, doesn't it, man?
Absolutely. What a game. Low scoring, but high intensity. That's what you want to see in an absolute battle right now. The Comets clearly with the advantage in their ability in these set pieces, but when the play is open, when the field is open, the ambush can run, they've had the advantage so far tonight. What happens here in the second half?
Continuing protestations from KC toward the referee's crew. They had the only power play of the half, and Donnie Alberti and Will SK, Paulo Nascimento checking in with those refs as well. They say go to the locker rooms, but first Donnie is going to stop by with our Angela Sharp. She's down on Axios Field with Ambush GM and assistant coach Donnie Alberti.
That is right. I caught coach here. First of all, the last 3 minutes of that half were crazy for the soccer fan. However, now you guys are basically going to start the second half as a fresh new game.
First of all, your pants are incredible.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, we expected. They're a good team, well organized. We didn't think it was going to be a cakewalk or anything. We feel like we have more energy, so we're going to continue to do that. So.
Well, let's play on that more energy. What is it like to be back here, home field for a playoff soccer?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had that too often. We're excited. We love playing in front of our fans. Hoping to give them a good show in the second half.
All right, well, I'll let you get in there and get that good talk. Good luck to you during the second half. Ambush fans, can I get a go? Ambush in 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, Angela, and thank you, Donnie. We'll see you on the other side of this halftime break. Ambush Comets tied 2-2 on MASL TV.
Clear vision is so important for everything I do, on and off the field. I'm Zach Reggett, forward for the Kansas City Comets. We are super excited to partner with Silverstein Eye Centers as the official eye care provider for the Kansas City Comets.
I'm Dr. Steve Silverstein. We would love to show you what eye care should be. Please call us to schedule an appointment or visit our website at silversteineyecenters.com.
Shoot! He scores!
What's up, soccer fans? Alex Bastiavansky here, back in the MASL studio. Hope everyone had an absolutely fantastic week. A lot went down over the past few days in the league, and I am here to tell you all about it in just 5 minutes. So let's go.
Now Mendez, he'll shoot, save! Second try, that one blocked by a third one! Goes in! Former Comet, Stefan Mijatovic wins it for the Sockers.
Mijatovic with the dagger for San Diego against his old team last week as the Sockers and Comets played a home and home. They went back to the West Coast on Sunday, and this one needed overtime as well to decide things.
Serta, Leo, to Serta, he scores! He scores!
And with that win, the Sockers clinched the MASL Shield by a single point over Baltimore. More on that in just a moment. Another game that went to overtime last weekend was between Empire and St. Louis.
Gratterall, Venezuela's finest, finds Lawal. Lawal, Walla, and a goal! Dyerson Gratterall!
Empire finishes the regular season on a high as they get set for the playoff push. Other games to tell you about: Baltimore was hosting the Tacoma Stars. Mello named the first star. He had 6 points, 4 goals, and 2 assists as the Blast pick up the win. Milwaukee hosting Utica City. The Steinwasser dynasty continues to impress. Brother Alex named the first star with 3 goals plus 3 helpers for the Wave in the win. And St. Louis managed to take down Utica City 7-4 behind a great performance by Daniel Torrealba, who had 3 points on the day. So let's take a look at the final standings. As mentioned, San Diego finishes in first. They get the first seed, followed by the Blast in second, Milwaukee in third, just ahead of the St. Louis Ambush, who finished just ahead of the City Comets, and in sixth, Empire, to round out your playoff teams. So let's take a look at the playoff bracket. It is going to be the Battle of Missouri, the Ambush taking on the Comets in the first round, with the Sockers playing the winner there, and it's the Wave taking on the Empire Strikers, 3 versus 6, with the Blast getting the victorious club in that situation. Empire and Milwaukee kicking things off. The first game will be in Empire, and then the next game and possibly second in Milwaukee if necessary. The Strikers actually won 2 of the 3 games that the teams faced off this season. And yes, the Battle of Missouri should be a good one. St. Louis, KC. Now, the Comets actually won the first 4 games they played this season, but St. Louis came on hot, winning the last 2, including that one in overtime right there. Battle of Missouri, you know the fans are going to travel well for that one. And a look at your final scoring leaders. Rian Marquez takes the points title with 52. However, Alex Sanchez was the Golden Boot winner with 32 goals. Then it was Pereira with 47 points. Sergio Pinal with 43, tied with Zach Reggett from Kansas City. Time now for your plays of the week.
Through midfield, blocked, keeps it alive. Rodriguez fires it downfield for Mello. Mello scores! Another assist for Rodriguez. Another goal for Mello. It's 4-1 Black.
What a play by Julian Rodriguez. He knew exactly where he was in the game.
Good job by Stankovic winning that ball back.
Lucas Souza! We told you he was back last week.
Sanchez shot is blocked. Carvalho gets it back. Alex will fire again! Posted step for Saucy! It's 2-0 Milwaukee!
Falzoni and Williamson not on the same page. Off the stretch U sign into the foot of Niamsi. Randy Martinez over to Daniel Torrealba. Oh! Super Mario Baldoni!
Serta, Leo, to Serta, he scores! He scores! The captain, the hero, the best defender in the league, give it all to him!
Now Mendez, he'll shoot, save. Second try, that one blocked by. A third one goes in. Former Comet, Stefan Mijatovic wins it for the Sockers.
Finds Lawal. Lawal, Walla, and a goal! Dyerson Gratterall with the game-winning goal. Strikers win, Strikers win, Strikers!
And that's all the time we've got for this week's show. But just a reminder to stay up to date on everything that's going on in the MASL all throughout the season. Be sure to check out the league's official social media outlets. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Take control. Make a healthy change. Maintain a healthy weight. Exercise regularly. Don't smoke or use smokeless tobacco. Eat a healthy diet. Limit alcohol. Protect yourself from the sun and avoid tanning beds. Protect against sexually transmitted infections. Get screening tests. For more 8 Ways tips, visit siteman.woostel.edu/take control.
From Family Arena in St. Charles, Missouri, it's the MASL playoffs on MASL TV. Joey Santaboni alongside Matt Rocchio. Good first half of play. Ambush have never trailed in this series, got out to a couple of leads. Comets even it up before halftime. Matt, your thoughts on this half?
Ambush just need to clean up their play. I mean, it's the 2 big fouls right around their own goal that give the Comets their chances to score, and they complete both chances to score, and that's why we are where we are.
Ryan Keto made his own chance to score. Unassisted goal from the referee's crease. Flutters it by Nicolau Neto in the first quarter. Gave the Ambush a lead about 5 minutes into it. The Comets, they tested Paulo a bit in that first quarter. Paulo leaping for a save, part of a 1-0 lead that the Ambush built in that opening stanza. Chili Willie SK off of a Randy Martinez win and tested Neto. Neto flaring fingertips up at it. Tetsane, he scores off the little feed from Nacho on a restart after Vandergriff drew a foul. Colin O'Keefe chest one off the post after Paulo made an initial save against Nacho. Neto not able to save that from Briggs. Christian Briggs with his first playoff goal. That built a 2-1 Ambush lead in the second, but KC, they weren't done, though Paulo wouldn't let that one through. Deprives Reagan, smacks it off from in front of the line, and then Francis, he draws it level. 3 goals for Dom Francis. 2-2 our score. Ambush out shooting the Comets on goal 14-9.
Need to get a little bit more deadly. Again, you're going to get all those shots on goals, but you're not really doing anything in the open play to capitalize on them. Need to do that. Also need to work around a little bit more. Those 10 block shots shows you a Comets defense that's staying in front of the ball.
The flashlights are out at Family Arena in St. Charles. Second half coming up right after this on MASL TV.
Here's what I'm thinking about the living room. Double hung windows are classics, but what do you think about casement windows? Or maybe sliding windows? Or even a big bay window? With all the styles Window World offers, I've got tons of options that match my taste and budget perfectly.
Which will you choose?
I might need another house or two.
The Post Sports Bar and Grill. Use promo code AMBUSH online for a buy one, get one free cheesesteak. The Post Sports Bar and Grill. Stay posted.
At St. Luke's Heart and Vascular Institute, we understand that care is more than treatment. It's about living your best life. St. Luke's alliance with Cleveland Clinic's Heart, Vascular, and Thoracic Institute enables us to take on the most challenging cases. Make an appointment today.
Want more MASL action? Follow MASL and St. Louis Ambush on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to MASL TV on YouTube, where you'll find game rebroadcasts, MASL shows, highlights, and more.
Deuces up. Start of the second half. Riley Urey on the ball. Ambush will have it first. Christian Briggs has scored in this game. We'll see Tetsane has been right in the thick of the action. Urey starts the action again. Michaud, SK, Almeida, Briggs, Paulo join him on the field. Down the right side bowling alley looking for SK. Stuffs it in against Pino. And Neto lets it run a little bit closer than I would have to that goal line before scooping it on up. Tetsane, Pino in the back. Francis, Reagit forward. Lennis out there with them as well. Reagit goes to claim it. Pino from the Crow's Nest. Ambush, Comets played 6 times regular season. Comets won it 4-2, the I-70 series, though the Ambush won the last 2 in that series. And those 2 victories were a turning point, albeit very early in the season for St. Louis. 6 of our first 8 games were against the Comets. 6 of their first 10 were against us. Fitting, perhaps, to meet in the playoffs. Francis, SK, armor of a 14th century knight, springs off his medal and bounces to the fans. Zach Reagit on the restart in front of the Salmon sign. Windex work, Paulo on a short hop. 7 saves opening half, Paulo. Tagba, Falcons one downfield. Headed by Nacho in front of Thomas. Ambush on the free kick. Joey Tanaboni alongside Matthew Rocchio. Williamson, what a move. Drops Souza.
Oh, man, Joey. So far, Ambush have gotten goals from 2 of the youngest players on the roster. It would have been crazy if the third one would have come from the best defender on the roster and Big Rob Williamson. But what a nice little move there.
Rashad Ahmadi. Shotguns one to the far post.
That's
just
a sniper
missed.
shot, Joey, actually. Sorry. That far away, that's a sniper shot.
Vandegrift. He and O'Keefe in a little mini collision on the wall. Goes against Chad. His second of the game, first of the half.
I think Neto's trying to get his defense's attention there.
Yelling vociferously from just in front of the line. Brings,
on the wall,
smashes it.
too.
Nacho into his legs. Paulo juggles it down on the other side. Paulo looking for Thomas. Window work and headed back by Nacho as Lennis went down right next to him. KC Comets and the St. Louis ambush. Rian Marquez trying to flick Martinez. Bad flick header. Luckily, he's able to strip Francis after Francis surprised. Couldn't quite get it under control. Martinez almost with a bad mistake. He's got a game winner against the Comets this year. That was New Year's Eve in this building. Ambush won once in overtime, once in a shootout against KC. And Falzone has that one saran wrap all the way to Neto. Ambush seemingly every game early in the year going OT or shootouts against teams. Marquez, Nacho. KC has its first lead of the series, 12-19 to go in the third.
Perfect passing by the Comets. Beautiful play there. That forward diagonal pass from Marquez just opened things up because the ambush, despite being the faster team the entire first half, were demonstrably the slower team there. Everyone slow to get back. Everyone takes bad angles. And that's how Nacho was able to just completely leg out Falzone and then eventually Martinez on that closing angle and give the Comets a massive 3-2 lead. Marquez involved in all 3 points so far.
Michaud, Briggs, Riley Yuri leaping for that one. Lucia Tetsane can't get it in the lariat. 3-2, KC. Michaud set up for the ambush and a free kick on the wall. Ambush have to author a response. Jeff. Briggs down low to Keto. The initial goal scorer playing it back through SK. I think Briggs wanted it instead. Yuri shows on the far side as SK. Dances against Tetsane, feeds Briggs. Paulo comes out to help out. Dirtle gets his cardio in. Paulo drags it across the equator.
It's a risk.
Toenails it to SK. Neto grabs it. And he wanted him to get out with Paulo hustling back, but KC not fast enough to maneuver out. Rolled simply to Tetsane. Fans, remember the ambush have season tickets for next season. On sale now. Benefits include free parking and guaranteed promo items. Season tickets and partial season tickets. Check out the ambush across social media and at stlambush.com.
Joey here as the ambush trail for the first time. We have to get into a lineup decision the ambush make. Daniel Torrealba not available on Monday in the away game. He was available tonight. But the ambush, after that big win, decided they wanted to keep on rolling with almost the exact same lineup, keep the continuity rolling within the 2 games in 3 days span. But now you really could use some of that offensive punch.
And it is possible, though not guaranteed, we could see Torrealba in the mini game if it gets that far. That's game 3 of the series. Gates, screwdriver down by Haliman. Haliman nice enough to help him up.
There's that multi-generational rivalry right there in play, Holloman and Gates. Dads both played for the St. Louis and KC predecessors in arena soccer across this state.
And you got to go back to 1998 when those guys were active. For the last time the ambush knocked Kansas City out of the playoffs.
I was also a little overactive back in 1998.
Too many pixie sticks, huh, Rockio?
I was more of a fun dip kind of guy. Just pure sugar.
I was just licking it out of the sugar bag sometimes. It's out of the sugar bag to Nascimento. Paulo catapults long. Lennis went down in the goal mouth. Now Van de Graaf shut out. Pierced after 1 quarter. And now Kansas City has a lead. They'll go at their pace. 5 minutes into this third. Souza up to set up that goal. Reagan stop and go against Williamson. Through ball. Michon takes care of it as O'Keefe marked the through man Souza. Reagan henpecks it away. Michon made it difficult. Vandegrift off the square pass. Off the board. Leaks through to Pino. KC 4. STL 2.
Absolutely huge goal there. Pino put in just 1 in the regular season. Has 3 in his playoff career. Adds a 4th. The defender finding just enough of the woodwork to keep that one in a massive 4-2 2-goal lead now for the Kansas City Comets in game number 2 of this series.
And I do believe that Souza got a little piece of that as Souza kind of redirected the ball back toward Pino, and Pino made no mistake. Leaves some chapstick on the inside of the post. So it's 4-2, first multi-goal lead of the game for either team.
Talked about it earlier, Joey. The third quarter usually decides games. Are the Comets putting themselves in a chance here to steal this game 2 and force the 15-minute knockout game later on tonight?
They have locked down SK and Falzone adequately enough in this game. They can't connect inside, but Falzone wins it back in the midfield against Andreas. Falzone into the legs of Neto. SK wants another crack at it. Brings, wins it back against Ramirez. Falzone. Almeida. Falzone gets off the field as Uri pops back on. At least 23 minutes and 48 seconds to go in this game. Overtime would be possible in game 2. If Kansas City wins game 2, we go to a mini game to determine who plays San Diego in the next round. That knockout game, the quote-unquote mini game, would be 15 minutes guaranteed, then sudden death overtime after that if necessary. Stankovic, he's not impressed by the whistle of the referee.
Ambush need to make the most of these restarts. This one, not a huge chance, but still Almeida on the field now.
Briggs whiffs on it. Luckily, it turns to SK, and SK rushes the shot way high, way wide. 8:27 to go in the third. KC 4, Ambush 2.
Last 7 minutes of this game, it felt a lot like November and December, Joey. Ambush need to knock off some of that revision to their play and get back to what they were doing well in that first half. Outrunning these Comets teams.
Kansas City looking more and more confident, unfortunately, unless you're a KC fan. Williamson to Thomas. Gates transition. Gates pulls it back against Francis. Neto slides out. Thomas gets a bump, and the whistle comes out against Marquez.
And
I thought it came out against Marquez.
I thought it did as well. I'm surprised the Ambush aren't staying in their area. But John Gates missed a chance there, tried to go against the big body of Neto, couldn't get the ball across his body, and I'm not sure how Rian Marquez did not get called for a foul there against James Thomas.
Instead, it's the other way around. Is James JT Thomas is the one assigned the foul.
And Rian Marquez goes in there and crumples him. No call, despite not getting much of the ball.
Reagant challenged by Briggs on the goal line.
No call there either. Letting him play here.
Souza. Reagant comes back to field it. And KC. Lennis to Reagant. Reagant loses the footing against Briggs. Swiped by O'Keefe. Out of the cereal bowl. Spoon to Falzone. Falzone doesn't make contact cleanly as he tries to whip that one through the middle. Neto gets it in the mousetrap. We'll go to the media timeout of the next available break.
O'Keefe got caught ball watching there.
Ramirez. And Pino trying to shake Uri. Marquez against Williamson. Turns. Paulo comes out. Slapping a hand after it. Went wide. O'Keefe against Ramirez. Goes the wrong way for Ramirez. Uri pursues. Under 7 to go in this quarter. It was 2-2 at half. KC striking early in the second half. Into Reyes. Against Amati, good defense from Mershad. Clearance from Mershad. Goes to Francis, hits it off the post. Off of Marquez then, well wide. Mershad, Francis got a forehead on it, and a tightrope walks to the fans. 6:23 to go in the third. Kansas City leading by 2. Ambush looking for a comeback win to advance on MASL TV.
At St. Luke's Heart and Vascular Institute, we understand that care is more than treatment. It's about living your best life. We're nationally recognized as a top heart care provider in the area, and our proud alliance with Cleveland Clinic's Heart, Vascular, and Thoracic Institute enables St. Luke's to take on the most challenging cases for the highest level of outcomes in St. Louis. St. Luke's Heart and Vascular Institute, a beat above the rest for a life beyond expectations. For a first diagnosis or a second opinion, make an appointment today.
MASLsoccer.com is your home for everything Major Arena Soccer League. All the latest news, leaderboards, highlights, and more. Capelli Sport is the official and exclusive preferred uniform and apparel provider for the Major Arena Soccer League. Visit MASLsoccer.com to shop the all-new MASL fan store for the latest MASL and team gear.
Downtown West, home of Union Station. St. Louis Ferris Wheel, the St. Louis Aquarium. Over here in the indoor soccer aquarium, the Comets have built a 4-2 advantage, courtesy of a couple of goals early in the third quarter. Now with just over 6 to go in the period. Ambush trying to come back against the Comets team. You don't want them to find their confidence.
I think that ship might have sailed a little bit here, Joe. You take a 2-0 lead, you come out of the gate in the second half, and you open up two unanswered goals in the third quarter, which can be the defining quarter so often. Fair to say the Comets are feeling a little bit
Hopefully
of the momentum.
it doesn't stay too long, right?
So you're hoping if you're the ambush, but you got to do something about it. It's not just going to stop. You got to force the momentum back your way.
The double-edged sword for the Kansas City Comets. This is an older team. They've made a lot of deep runs into the playoffs and obviously been one of the powerhouses in the league. They get that confidence of having been there, done that, not necessarily going to panic, being down a little less than halfway through a deciding game. On the other side, the ambush might have the younger, more energetic legs to run by these guys. If not in game 2, then in the knockout 15-minute game that would immediately follow should Kansas City win this.
Well, if that to happen, they're going to have to start running here again for this next quarter and a half because they've allowed the Comets to slow this game down. And really the speed for the ambush has not come into play much in these first 9-10 minutes.
Nifty steal from Briggs, and Thomas sandwiched on the way out. Nacho gets off the field. They're slamming down JT Thomas. Ambush have some clinics coming up and some summer camps and summer 3v3 tournaments this offseason. More info across social media and at stlambush.com. You can also sign up to receive the Ambush newsletter, which contains that info, plus more about appearances, tickets. SteelAmbush.com. Paulo against Stankovic.
They missed a handball on Paulo. Ball jumped up on him when he was trying to dribble it, and he didn't purposely smack it down with his hand, but it definitely popped up on his hand. And the Comets are not happy. Here it is. Very clearly hit his hand as he tried to turn around there.
Referee thought he was still in the box, right?
I don't think that's what happened, no. I think that the turn probably obfuscated the hand a little bit.
Wedge down, Stankovic got called for the foul either way. Here's Marquez. Tries to tiptoe it in and did not get the right touch. He liked the pass. Williamson to Quito. Uri on the right side, O'Keefe down the left. Quito, Marquez got in from behind and immediately protests. Marquez, he'll be on the wall with Souza. Williamson has Uri at the back post. Togban, Rashad Amadi, SK right behind him. Yields to SK. Billiards it over. Amadi came over a little past the midway point of the season from Utica. Tries to battle through. Vandegrift floats it to midfield. Under 5 to go in the third. Uri. Hard off the glass, straight to nobody.
Nobody there for the rebound. Ambush not crashing the glass, not using the speed. Feels like the attack has been a little neutered here.
Have not yet scored in the quarter. Had 1 goal apiece in the first and the second. Output was 9. Majority of that in the first 3 quarters of game number 1. Mahdi stumbled slightly against Pino trying to win it. Pino, missile, Regent. Into Rayo's slip. Togba on the intercept. 3-on-2 for the ambush. Uri acceleration. Pass Pino, gives him a shove. And Uri never gets the shot away. Clearly.
Dark arts, baby.
There's a hand on the shoulder, but maybe that's easier to tell from up top.
Perfect little push by Guerrero. Not enough where it's going to get a call, but just enough to throw off a guy in full sprint like Riley Uri. That's a dark arts play if I've ever seen one, nicely executed by the veteran defender Pino.
Severus Snape type stuff. Amadi and Thomas. Briggs off the half line. O'Keefe, Amadi shows for him. Regent forming a wall with Tetsane. Bingles back to Michaud. He boops it over the top. Thomas in the area. O'Keefe in the area, but he misses.
Another wide open net. The ambush have missed 3 now.
O'Keefe with another chance. Looking to center it off the wall for Thomas, and Neto stops it and then stretches.
3 missed open nets by the ambush. All of their attempts have gone wide.
Yeah, and Neto got lucky there. He gave it right to O'Keefe. O'Keefe had plenty of daylight, could not finish it. Remember, Eji Madu is available off the bench. Neto looks like he's a little bit tight in the leg back there. We'll keep an eye on that. 2:40, Kansas City 4, St. Louis 2. Marquez bashes it. Tetsane off his thigh. Nacho.
Oh, man.
5-2.
Another one for the Comets. They are placing these perfectly.
Flores on the floor. And it is 4 unanswered for Kansas City. Tetsane is going to pick up the apple as Nacho burrows it in off to the left of a diving Paulo. Marquez, that's good work from Tetsane to read the play and pull it back out. I don't know that he was trying to give it to Flores, but either way, got it under control with a soft touch and then immediately yanked it back toward the goal line. So it gets interesting here. Ambush down by 3 with under 3 to go in the third. Paulo. Parabola. Neto out of his box. Legs it forward. Haliman. A couple of bounces off the head of Gates. Paulo. Vandegrift skulls it. Lennes in transition. Luckily it takes a big bounce over him as Gates went down. Smashed off the glass by Paulo. Grabbed by Martinez in front of the ambush bench. Goal for the Ambush in the final 2 minutes of this third would make things feel a lot different. All the momentum on the side of the Comets. Gates looking to pry away against Ramirez, and whistle for a foul. Vandegrift on the ball. Free kick in the back for Casey, $1.43.
That feels like a big minute 40 here for the Ambush. Get this back down to 2 goals makes it feel a lot different. Fourth quarter down by 3. Start thinking about a different strategy in those last 10 minutes or so with the extra attacker.
Lennis. Reagant makes a little space against Williamson. Looks for the centering effort. Amadi got a boot in there. Souza goes for the flying kick. Michaud having none of it. Thomas can't break it out. Vandegrift sees to that. Final minutes of the third. Casey has outscored STL 3-0 in this third. Ambush 12-4 when scoring 5 goals or more this season. We'll need at least 5 to force overtime tonight. Pino. And Reyes goes to gather in the corner. KC at their own tempo here. Doing old Dean Smith one better. On a 4-corner offense, a 5-corner offense. Into the corner for Reagan, 20 seconds. Souza, clockwork back, off his chest. Going against Michaud, left foot, Paulo. Paddle balls it away, big skip. Out of bounds, off the Ambush. 8.5 seconds left in the third. Did go out just beyond the gold line, so it's set up not all that favorably for KC, but they've got Marquez and Reagan, their top scorers, lurking around the perimeter of the box. Tetsane scrutinizes things. Tetsane, Marquez challenged by Williamson. Big Rob got a head on it. Knotted it for SK to clear, and Neto sends it to the fans and sends us on to the fourth. Ambush suddenly down 5-2. This is game 2 of the MASL quarterfinals on MASL TV.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves. The all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. You'll be out of your seat and dancing along with Elmo, Abby, Cookie Monster, and their furry friends. May 3rd, the Family Arena. Tickets available at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. An experience you and your child will treasure long after the final song. Elmo's Got the Moves. See you on Sesame Street.
Hey now, watch out, I'm a real star. See me from afar, shining like a shooting star. Hey now, watch out, I'm a real star.
When you have a financial partner that invests in every part of you, you can't help but feel like a star. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
At St. Luke's Heart and Vascular Institute, we understand that care is more than treatment. It's about living your best life. St. Luke's alliance with Cleveland Clinic's Heart, Vascular, and Thoracic Institute enables us to take on the most challenging cases. Make an appointment today.
Here's what I'm thinking about the living room. Double hung windows are classics, but what do you think about casement windows? Or maybe sliding windows? Or even a big bay window? With all the styles Window World offers, I've got tons of options that match my taste and budget perfectly.
Which will you choose?
I might need another house or 2.
Want more MASL action? Follow MASL and St. Louis Ambush on Facebook and Instagram. Catch MASL Monday every Monday night on MASL TV and on CBS Sports Golazo Network. Alex Bostavansky and Phil Levanko are joined each week by special guests from across the league to recap the weekend's games and discuss the league's hot topics. Think the refs missed one? Find out on Under Review with Phil Levanko and MASL head referee Ryan Sigich, the MASL's most controversial show. Catch it every Friday on MASL TV on YouTube.
Fourth quarter from the Gateway City, home of the St. Louis Ambush back in the 90s downtown. 2013, this franchise resurrected out here in St. Charles, about 30 minutes away from the world's famous Gateway Arch. This has been the best regular season of the Ambush franchise's 13 years since coming back and starting play at Family Arena. Head coach Jeff Walker, he's in the playoffs for the third time in 5 seasons and trying to advance for the first time. It'll take a big fourth quarter from his team to go through against San Diego. If Kansas City holds on, and they do lead 5-2, if they hold on, we'll have the knockout game, a 15-minute game, starting with a score of 0-0 after a brief break following play. Ambush trailing by 3. Joey Zanaboni alongside Matt Rocchio. What do the Ambush have to do, Rock?
Well, Joey, scoring some goals would probably help. But how do they do that? They play fast again. It was a track meet when they had the ball in the first half. But it was drugged to a standstill by the Comets at times, and at no point were the Ambush able to really run in that third quarter. So if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to do what got them the lead in the win in the first game, that got them to a 2-2 halftime tie in this game, which is turn it into a track meet where you will win and run faster.
And speaking of running faster versus running slower, Ambush were much faster out of this halftime break. Stefan Stokic's team was taking its time in the corner where Nicolau Neto was continuing to do some stretching. His back was on the floor and his legs were up vertically on the wall as he tries to loosen up. Looked like he was a little bit tight at the end of the third quarter. His Comets control the ball, 5-2 lead. Final 15 minutes, regular play, game 2 of 3 games if necessary, though again, that third game would be a mini game at 15 minutes. Neto off the wall. Turnage, Reagan around Briggs. Simple swat, Amadi. Rashad. Wanted SK, telegraphed it. Lennis zooms in front. He and Reagan pull it back. 150 goals in the regular season for KC, now 9. Nacho has the latest for KC, lifts that ball off the ground, now a back header by Reagan. He's upset, and he came down awkwardly as well on his left foot. He goes over to the bench a little bit gingerly. Reagan's going to be checked out over there as he sits down or lays down on the bench behind the guy standing. Reagan might have tweaked something a minute into this fourth quarter. Briggs over to Michaud. Reagan, one of the best in the league. Bent over a little bit on that bench as the Ambush taken in front of his team's goal. And Thomas and Amadi, tight space up top. Souza emerges with it. Ramirez against Quito. Quito, good win. Gates calling for it in the middle. Quito went down briefly. He still squeezes it through to Gates. Gates on the Falzone. Super
Mario! Super Mario, baby.
I haven't seen Super Mario sneak in like that since Chris Pratt got cast in the role. Falzone, after a great hustle play from Quito. I think we both thought maybe he blew it initially by not finding Gates.
Yeah.
But Gates kept running down the left side, and Quito just stayed with it. Gates, simple find to Falzone. Falzone makes it 5-3.
Ambush played a little bit faster, stayed on their feet, overcame the toughness from the Kansas City side, and were able to get numbers down in front of Neto. Just got to do it 2 more times.
Falzone is first of the night. He also scored Monday in KC. Falzone, MASL Newcomer of the Year finalist. What a season it's been for him. Reagan is back for KC. He's the one who restarted the ball in the center circle. Suddenly a little momentum back for St. Louis. Up 1-0 after 1 quarter. We were tied 2-2 at half, 5-2. Heading into this fourth. KC had built the lead. They still maintain it, but that's important for St. Louis after being held scoreless in the third quarter. Briggs intercept. Andreos gets a noggin to it in the center circle. Pino back to Vandergriff. Reget scoots back to it. Tagba follows him, and Reget in some pain. Again, he was kind of clutching at that left foot or ankle as he went to the bench moments ago. Same leg. Tagba stings him in, and he is slow to get up, but Reget, not a long walk to the bench.
Tagba there, clear foul, precision shot that time too. Right in the weak spot.
Neto, Pino, Marquez.
That moment did sell me. I've always believed Zach Rager could play a pretty good Achilles, but I mean the way he took the shot there in the ankle, I mean, sold it perfectly.
Rian for the referee's crease, trying to bend one to Tetsane. There's Quito again. Quito maybe the man of the match right now for the ambush. Quito, Yuri, Riley. Quito went down, and the foul call does come through.
Game
and
that
Quito
is so
goes
far,
down again.
A game that is so far defined by set pieces near the goal, as the Comets have scored 2 of their goals on them, 2 of their early goals that kept this game close. And I think SK is asking for a little extra.
As everybody has their conversation with the referee, the red hanky is thrown on the field by Jeff Locker and Donnie Albertzi.
And look at Marquez and Quito each getting a specific talking to. Like the loud kids in class.
And let's check in. Microphone is in hand on the field, of the referees will maybe sort this out before Josh Wilkins.
St. Louis is challenging for a contact above the shoulder. Play will be under review.
Arturo Ibarra. Those two will head over to the box.
So contact above the shoulders is what we're looking for here, Mr. Zanaboni.
Ambush have not
I like
had a
the
power
group
play.
of fans. I like the group of fans who have gathered around to watch the replay.
Everybody wants to watch that Window World video review, right?
So Quito on the ground.
And this was after the initial foul call, and then he goes down grabbing his face. So if he caught some contact in the head, so he's looking for the foul. There's a bit of a delayed whistle to see what happened on the play, and then Marquez back of the hand.
Come on, Ryan.
He at least flinched. It's contact above the shoulders, right?
SK was rolling his eyes when the flag came out, and I thought it might have been because the official was calling people over. I think SK might have been rolling his eyes at his own teammate there. I can't believe Ryan. I can't believe that's the contact. Oh, come on. I don't think Marquez was moving his hand back on purpose right there. And if it was, that is a well executed. I mean, he's clearly motioning to the official. I don't think he sees Quito coming from behind him.
Let's see what Josh and Arturo have to say. They are emerging from the box now. Here's your call.
After video review, the decision on the field stands. There is no additional punishment. St. Louis loses their challenge.
So
you can't boo.
Ambush lose the challenge
flag. You can't even boo that one. Come on, people.
With 11:48 to go in the fourth, it was very light contact, probably incidental. I'm not quite as adamant as Rocchio, but I don't think Marquez knew that Quito was right there when he gestured with the hand, so probably the right call.
Challenge.
And, of course, Ambush got the foul call before, so he's still set up well. Free kick. Michaud down low, brings off to the right of the ball. Amati and Almeida on the ball. SK stalking along top of the bow and arrow. There's a couple on the wall. Reagit and Marquez.
I want to throw out here, Joey. Daniel Torrealba is on the bike, just in case we might see a lineup change in the potential knockout game.
Almeida, Amati, slide out by Reagit. Almeida bashes it off of Marquez. Paulo orchestrates. Thomas, chest, half volley. Gets it into Haliman. Marquez, Haliman out of the garbage disposal. Daniel Torrealba signing autographs as well in the tunnel by that exercise bike. Top scorer on the Ambush team would be available perhaps for game number 3 of this series. Not guaranteed to be in the lineup, but he's here in the building. Thomas trying to jam. Neto brings it to a statue stop, points at Thomas, seeing if there'll be a stoppage in play for injury. Rolls it out. Vandegrift. Pino. Lennis. Shaking, baking off the wall, right foot off the outside of the post.
An almost banger.
Falzone, the goal scorer. Through ball, wonderful. SK in transition, Chile! This guy's hotter than a Carhartt jacket stuffed with flaming Cheetos! 5 goals in the series, 8 points for SK. Ambush back within 1 in the 4th.
What's colder than Chili Willy? Flaming hot, ladies and gentlemen. A perfect through ball right through the middle, settles it, one dribble, and then somehow I think he skipped that one over the leg or under from Neto. Let's see what it is here. Rolls that one, just gets it under the kicked out leg of Nicolau Neto. A meaty appendage somehow slides it just under, and this is back to a 1-goal game with 10:39 left to play in this potentially final frame.
Ambush battling back, have erased the lion's share of the 5-2 deficit. Timeout on the field after the SK goal, and it is a 5-4 affair with 10:39 to go. Wow. Ambush.
What a pass.
Getting Falzone going here in the early going of this 4th quarter. We've needed him. Falzone kept in mothballs by the KC defense in the early going first 3 quarters. But here in the opening stages of the 4th, different story as Super Mario picks up the assist. SK scores the goal after Falzone, Super Mario himself, had made it 5-3 just a bit earlier.
Huge goal there for the Ambush. Again, they're playing with speed, and that's got them back into this game with these 2 goals. Can they continue to play with speed? Can they outrun the Comets? And hey, can they prove me wrong, Joey, and show me that 4th quarter matters more than that tricky little 3rd?
Kansas City elected to take a timeout, and out of the timeout, goalkeepers. Neto kind of spun Paulo around, said, "Give me a bro hug here, fella." They've met many times through the years. Chili Willy SK and Zach Reagan, the 2 captains, getting the conversation.
Yeah,
let's get everybody on the same page for this final stretch.
Yes, I think that's it. I think the officials also realized that they were calling a lot of ticky-tacky things that they didn't want to call because they were trying to control the game. And you get your 2 captains together, and SK and Reagit. Everyone's all smiles. Everyone's depths are clean. And we're ready for the final 10:40 of this round 2 in a playoff game. We'll have one more stoppage at least before the end of this game.
Thanks to all who are tuning in tonight on YouTube, MASL TV. We've got a message from Eric Bergrud, one of the announcers for the KC Comets, saying have a great call. And you can check out Eric with his show. Just had a very special guest in Bob Lee, the legendary ESPN man who called the MISL back in the 1980s. Check out Eric's show 10 for 10 at MASL Arena across social media. 5-4. KC restarts it out of their own timeout. Long way to go. Nacho, Togba. Perfect anticipation. Neto is out. Togba!
Are you kidding me?
We're tied, baby!
The momentum has swung.
Listen to this Family Arena crowd.
What a little chip by James Togba. Cheeky, nifty, silky, whatever you want to call it, it fits.
And what a piece of anticipation. The former Comet maybe had an inkling what his team, his old team, was trying to do. Picks off Nacho Flores, and Flores in disbelief after Togba read it perfectly. Neto was way out of goal, out of his box, even beyond the arc.
Missed a lot of open nets, didn't miss that one.
About 15 seconds after the ambush made it 5-4, it's 5-5.
Wow. What a game here, Joey.
Anybody's contest in the final 10, exactly how you want it in the quarterfinal round. Winner gets San Diego, the top overall seed. If the ambush win,
perfect
if
run.
not, we'll go to a mini game. And Reyes misses, and O'Keefe gathers in. That was a good run from Andreas starting forward.
Really was. Good though
Could
by
not
him
finish
too.
it.
Put it off the wall, give him a second chance.
Sprays over to Marquez. Again, KC trying to force a game 3, the 15-minute mini game. And Marquez, he gets a favorable call.
Yeah, I mean, he initiates the contact. Is it Amadi coming in with his extra little chip that gives him the foul call? Because in that original play, that was definitely Marquez forcing that contact.
Off the restart, Dirtle in the corner. Dirtle drags it back to Pino. Ambush scoring 3 times in the first 5 minutes of the fourth after scoring just twice in the first 3 quarters. Tetsane. Dirtle appears. Reget trying to help him out. Left for Reget, insert Paulo right there. Diagonal run by Ramirez, comes to naught.
Got to give a lot of credit to Henry Ramirez. Hasn't been able to really put anything in the back of the net, but he has made killer diagonal cuts on the Comets offense the entire night. He's done it through the midfield, on transition runs. He's done it on slower sets in the half field. Unbelievable game from Ramirez. Good chance before the end of this fourth quarter he might punch one in and change this game.
Dirtle to Reget.
Lucas got away with one there.
Almeida gives him a little friendly tap. Reget came up, maybe rightfully looking for the foul.
I can't blame him for that one. It's a chippy game, but the easy ones are easy. Usually. Apparently not.
Lennis. Pino to Francis. Swish through. Reget tried to back it in. Lennis marked by Falzone.
A lot of Comets possession in these 3 minutes since that tying goal.
SK cuts it out.
So many, I mean, you got to give credit to the Comets. It's a simple way they play. Listen, we're gonna bring the ball wide, and then we're gonna put crosses across the middle of the field because our guys are always making those runs. It's a simple way of playing soccer, but it works. Move the ball, make danger in the middle. It's as simple as that if you really want to get down to it.
Marquez, smooth touch. Lennis to his right. And skies it. Briggs was falling in front. We'll go to the media timeout. 5-5 game with 7:19 left in game 2. This is the MASL playoffs on MASL TV.
Here's what I'm thinking about the living room. Double hung windows are classics, but what do you think about casement windows? Or maybe sliding windows? Or even a big bay window? With all the styles Window World offers, I've got tons of options that match my taste and budget perfectly.
Which will you choose?
I might need another house or two.
When you have a financial partner that invests in every part of you, you can't help but feel like a star. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
All tied, Family Arena in St. Charles. St. Louis Ambush looking to advance and sweep the KC Comets. Comets, who were up 5-2 at the start of this fourth quarter, have blown that lead. They are trying to force a mini Game 3 that would start after a short break following action here in Game 2. St. Louis won Game 1, 9-4. Ambush 12-4 this season when scoring 5 or more. We're at that 5 mark, need 1 more. At least. Paulo, Adam Wainwright's one downfield. Ure crashed into by Vandegrift. Souza on the felt forward. Tagba and Arreos on the steal. Stankovic. Flores, Nacho stuffed by a sliding Tagba. He had the game-tying goal just minutes ago. Souza lifts that one up over the glass. Ambush goalkeeper distribution, 6:57 to go, regular play. If score is tied at the end of the fourth, then overtime is possible. That would still count as game number 2. And that would be a sudden death OT.
And then if the Comets win, we would then play more free soccer.
And Thomas looking for the through ball to O'Keefe. Let's hope all that's just academic. Neto got it out, hoisted back toward him by Williamson. Haliman nods it down.
Holloman sneak up the right side there.
Played in that direction. Reget looking to whirl and kick against Martinez. Staves him off. And Arreos on the steal. Bad pass back toward Reget. Stolen by Martinez. O'Keefe can't handle it. Reget across the face of goal. Sprays it just wide of the back post. Williamson against Haliman.
Ambush have to watch out, Joey. They're leaking out to try to get these transition plays. But if the ball stays in their area, they really have a chance of being down in numbers and giving the Comets a chance to take this lead. I know you want to get that goal. Oh, by the way, they almost just get a 6th man. They avoided it, but it looked like it could have been a little conclusion on the change for the Ambush. Clean there. They need to clean things up here for these last 6 minutes, or they could be giving up a final goal.
Only blue card in the game, 1 for 6 on the field. Against the Ambush, Marquez forward. Oh, springs back to him. And Marquez, after initially passing it by Pino, bulldozes through against Briggs in the Ambush defense. Scores the goal to make it 6-5, and Paulo is trying to have a word with him after Marquez.
Yeah, he kind of stood over Christian Briggs and walked back after scoring that goal.
Maybe a
Paulo
little disrespectful
like
there, yeah.
Yeah, Paulo does not like it there. Told to get back in his area. But an incredible run there by Rian Marquez as he's able to just bully through Christian Briggs. Great ball there, comes off the wall, and he just works his way through Briggs. And then he's going to come over here and stand over him a little bit. Don't like that one bit if you're the Ambush. But don't like it, play better. Down 6-5 now. Crucial 5.5 minutes here.
Well, Marquez maybe proving his MVP bona fides. Gives KC the lead. Collision after the ensuing restart. I think this is Lennis that's down. And KC will wave the athletic trainers onto the field with 5:24 to go in the fourth. Neto is telling him hold off, and Lennis is able to get up to his feet and walk off toward the bench. A foul on St. Louis. Kansas City free kick. And we'll see if the ambush stay down. When do you go to that 6th attacker? Usually with Paulo, he'll just pull up as a 6th attacker, though it's not every single time. Pino de Vandergriff. KC 5 and change away from forcing a 15-minute game 3 to see who advances to play San Diego. Andreas gets to 1, touches it. Reagan looking for insurance. Slashes off the wall. Andreas trying to pull back against SK. Fire pokers it away. Falzone, Escalator, Vandergriff thwacks it out of the air. Reagan trying to push it on, hit it into the boots of Williamson. The shot off the board to Chili Willie SK. Had the goal to make it 5-4. Slaloming, the captain, SK. He circulates back through Michaud. Yuri off to the left. Quito going back to the bench. Briggs off the bench. Almeida out there as well for St. Louis. Rolled to Yuri, 4:37. Yuri, round Francis. Riley Yuri, back post. Good move, not a great shot. Clearance gets only as far as Michaud. Briggs, turn hit on the post! Oh, Briggs almost gets his second of the game. Michaud floating, Almeida heading, parachutes toward Yuri, challenges for it against Andreas, goes down. Possibly looking for the foul, clutching at his side as it springs downfield. Paulo 4:07. Stitches forward Michaud. Gates inside the gold line, round Vandergriff. Oh, Michaud to the back post. Slants it just wide. Williamson, good find to Yuri, leave back to Amati. Amati pulls a shot, popped up in the air by Neto, plays some volleyball with it, and with authority comes barreling out to claim. Dirtle slips by Amati. Marquez, KC 6, St. Louis 5, under 3.5. Marquez, Nacho, creative pass to Lennis. Amati in front of a diving Paulo. Hits the ejector's seat. Now it's Yuri with Gates, 2-on-3. Yuri, left foot, almost slipped in off the back of Neto. Hit him in the derriere and scooted the wrong way. Marquez helps win it. Tetsane keeps it against Yuri. Gates elbowed in the face, and it's a foul against Tetsane.
I think he got him in the eye because Gates is down.
Exactly 3 on the clock. Gates writhing around. Referees are going to get clear on an explanation. And things are really heating up. Paulo and Neto. Paulo and Ramirez really, with Neto separating them.
Oh.
Scrummage, words.
Not sure why Paulo went over there the way he did. Pollo, though, the backup tender, the one to calm him down. And Ambush are playing with fire right now. The mentality not locked in right now. You got to be on top of your game. And there's Neto and Paulo, little physicality, but hey, both of them are fired up. Both of them are going to stand up for their teammates. And I don't think that Paulo liked Nicolau running over to talk to the official who was kind of trying to protect John Gates as he was on the ground. And I think that's what Paulo's telling Nicolau is, hey man, he's on the ground. You're hovering over him.
You know, Paulo and Neto did a little dap up, and now they have more words. Hollyman trying to separate Neto away.
But that shows you these are two guys who respect each other. But the respect also comes with the caveat of, I'm going to call you out if I think you're doing something wrong here. I respect you as a guy. I respect you as a goaltender. I'm calling you out though if you're doing things wrong. And after Nicolau gets away with moments like pushing Colin O'Keefe on Monday night, you know, Paulo's going to stand up for his team, and he knows that Nicolau plays both a really crisp game between the pipes, but also a very hectic game in the minds and they know of his opponents.
They know each other well.
The previous play and the situation afterward is under official review.
And now we're going to know a little something more about the situation. Josh comes over to say we're going to take a look. Paulo started with the ambush way back in 2017. Neto started with the Comets way back in 2019. Goalkeepers in the thick of it as we get a look at the whole gosh darn thing.
So you see here is Lucia Satani is going to put his hand up, and really he's going to catch John Gates right in the face.
Yeah, I think in the mouth.
And Gates went down writhing, probably a little extra. But then what you're going to see is Nicolau. Clear foul here by Tetsane.
Gates just wanted to make sure that he saw it.
Clear
That's
foul.
pretty clear.
Clear foul from Lucia there, putting his arm out that high. That's a pretty clear foul. The extracurriculars might have developed from what happened after that.
And they are looking at both that foul, which seems clear as day, and also going to look at what happened afterwards. So we will catch that as well. Tetsane caught him good, and then Gates, you can tell he was really in pain. Tetsane's like, what did I do there, Mr. Referee? And passions were high, especially with fans right there. 6'5", KC leads.
Don't you feel the soft membrane of Ryan Gates' nose, eyes, or mouth as you punch him, as you hit him in the face there, if you're listening at Tetsane? Why are you confused by the call? That's my wonderment, Joey. And you can see here, watch it, looking out. So Nicolau is over there in the corner. He's kind of hovering over Gates. And actually, it looked like Paolo's issue was with a different comment.
I think it was with Ramirez.
Yeah, it might have been with Ramirez.
And then Neto started
and then Neto
separate them.
Watch here, they're going to dab each other up.
Thing.
They're going to dab each other up here. And then they're going to go back to fighting. Watch, Paolo's going to call him out again. And so that's just the respect that these two Brazilians have for each other. But they're also Brazilians. They're going to say, listen, you're a countryman, and I'm not going to let you play this game in a way that I don't respect, even though I respect you as a person.
Here's the call.
After review, Kansas City, number 11, 2-minute power play, blue card for contact above the shoulder.
Tetsane not only gets a foul, he gets a blue card as well. So it's a power play for the ambush. Contact above the shoulder. Remember, that's what Marquez was reviewed for in the failed ambush challenge in the second half. And Tetsane ultimately, after Marquez was not called for a blue card, probably rightfully. I think here rightfully Tetsane has shown the avatar card. He's banished for 2 minutes. There's 3 minutes left in regulation. Ambush on a power play down by a goal.
Ambush had 4 power play chances on Monday. They went 0 for 4. Failed at the main goal, getting the ball through the middle. We've seen the Comets' success 5-on-5, getting the ball through the middle of runners. Can the Ambush find that while on a 5-4 advantage? They couldn't on Monday despite the win. To do it tonight would be the most crucial part of this game, tying this one up at 6 and giving them a couple more minutes to end it before regulation.
Will SK on the ball. First power play of the game for the Ambush. Converted just over a quarter of power play opportunities during the regular season. SK and Jeff Michon with Lucas Almeida. Briggs and Thomas down low. Michon wanted to go down low after receiving it back from Almeida for Briggs. Cut off, Van de Griff right at the heart of the defense. Paulo from our side of the yard. Pushes forward to SK, about 30 seconds into the power play. Michon to Briggs. Briggs off the wall. Neto knocks it down and burns a little wax off the candle before gathering at edge of the box. Aren't these goalkeepers veteran or what?
Yeah, they know what they're doing. They're going to take every little potential margin that they can.
Marquez,
how about Marquez getting a foul called against?
Yeah, drawing
the foul. And that gets a nice little reset for a penalty kill inside.
Michon gave him a little tag. 1-1-1 left on the power play. KC can take some time away from it here. Sand out of the hourglass, back to Neto. Ramirez challenged by O'Keefe. Ramirez fires a shot blocked by Briggs. Springs right to Marquez. Tries to hold it in the corner. Marquez fighting through. Marquez tight space. Paulo at the edge of the box came out to disrupt.
That had to touch somebody's hand, Joey.
It bloomed up, and now KC commits a foul. No call on any potential handball.
Already half of the power play and more gone. 45 seconds left for the Ambush. They've created nothing so far in the first minute 15.
KC 6, St. Louis 5. Just over a minute and a half left in the game. SK over to Michaud. Michaud. Top of the bow and arrow, Thomas. Chile. Jeff. Back to SK.
Playing pass doesn't do anything.
Michaud pursued by Anderaus. Michaud right into Holliman.
You can't get it inside on a power play. You're not going to score. It's just you're sapping the best chances.
Down to Briggs. Thomas forced out by Neto. Back to Michaud. Bad shot with 3 seconds left on the power play. Goalkeeper distribution for KC. They are 1 minute and 3 seconds from forcing a game 3. That would be 15 minutes. It'll start after a brief intermission here at Family Arena. And then we will start a fresh game with the score 0-0 winner after 15 minutes. We'll play San Diego. KC calls a timeout with now 1:02 showing on the clock. Comets 6, Ambush 5.
Ambush gonna need to push here. Comets, though, just need to not make a mistake for 62 seconds. And they have done what they needed to do here and win this first game, forcing us into the knockout game. Again, if the Ambush can force a turnover, get in the open play, get into transition, they could score. That's the only way they've gotten most of their offense tonight. Really disappointing, though, Joey, that they couldn't punch one in there in that power play. Now 0 for 5 on power plays in this playoff series. Of course, the 0 for 4 in game 1 doesn't really hit you nearly as bad as the 0 for 1 does tonight.
Power play started with exactly 3 minutes to go on the clock. Will it be what trips up the Ambush and prevents a series sweep? Next dates for the MASL playoffs, the weekend of the 17th and the weekend of the 24th. That'll be the semifinal and championship rounds. Hoping that some of that, really all of that, will be back here at the Family Arena. Appreciate you being with us tonight on MASL TV, and we will stay live into a mini game if that is indeed what happens after 4 quarters complete or after an overtime complete. Overtime still definitely possible in this game.
Ambush out of their huddle early, talking this thing over. And again, for them, it's pounce on any mistake that the Comets make. For the Comets, it's about a clean 62 to keep their season alive for at least 15 minutes longer.
4-seed Ambush, 5-seed Comets. Angela Sharp firing them up. We'll have her with more coverage on the field after the action tonight. Referees trying to iron everything out, checking everything, I'm sure, from clock. On down and checking on the penalty as well. Tetsane, he'll return basically as soon as they put this ball back in play. Don't stop believing. Ambush down by a goal. Back to 5-on-5. Launch toward Marquez, final minute, regulation game 2. Ure comes to get one. SK peels away to the left side. Ball's played back through Bolo.
And they want to talk it over now. They're going to get a timeout themselves. Possession with just under 44 seconds. And a very, very tricky knockout game on the line if they can't force overtime here.
With an Ambush victory tonight, they'll advance to the semifinals against the San Diego Sockers. You'll be able to catch game 1 right here at the Family Arena on Friday, April 17th at 7:05. Skip the fees by purchasing direct at the arena box office. And remember, the Ambush are taking orders for season tickets and partial season tickets for next season. Benefits of season tickets include free parking and guaranteed promotional items. Stay tuned across Ambush social media and visit stlambush.com to get prepped for the 2026-2027 season. Will SK has a 6th attacker jersey on, and he is the one who seems to be doing most of the planning, telling guys what he wants to happen here over the next 43.9 seconds. Ambush need a goal to force overtime.
Gotta wonder what the plan's gonna be here from Locker and company. these set moments when the KC defense knows what's coming have really been just nothing for the Ambush in today's game. Almost the entirety of today's game. We've got a goal off the second ball on a set piece, and we've got a lot of offense coming from the transition game and mistakes from the Kansas City side. Now with the ball in 44 seconds, what can the Ambush cook up to generate a shot on goal and potentially their 6th goal of the game?
Ambush were down 5-2 at the outset of this quarter. Falzone, then SK, then Tagba. SK and Tagba just 13 seconds apart made it 5-5. Then Rian Marquez, man with the most points in the MASL, made it 6-5. That's where we stand. KC on top, as they have been since the 5:35 to play mark. 43.9 seconds. Paulo is on the bench. SK can handle the ball with his hands as the 6th attacker in the box. He rolls it to Michaud after juking Andreas. Played SK down the right side. Chile bodied by Andreas. Foul comes through with 36.2. Andreas, the former
Willie,
Roo.
come on now. Stupid extra push there.
And it looked like he was flexing like Arnold there, showing the biceps. Come on, when you got biceps like this, things just happen. Referees don't buy it.
6 on 5. 36 seconds left.
Michaud, Briggs, Almeida, Thomas, SK. It goes to SK. Chile, right foot off of Neto's boot, and it flings up out of bounds. Now Neto, who's been experiencing some tightness in this game.
Oh, no.
He goes down. Ambush setting up in the corner with Almeida, Amadi behind him. Neto looks like he's all right. Thomas, Briggs, Michaud's on the far side. SK's up top with Amadi.
30 seconds.
Lucas. Corner kick.
Dummy through Thomas, Amadi from the top.
Briggs, left foot hit it into Thomas's knees. Vandegrift pelotons it. Amadi trying to run it down. SK scrambling back. Vandegrift, half bicycle. Grabbed by Amadi by the KC bench. 16 seconds. SK looking for the tie. Chile, Almeida, Thomas! Can't jam it in. Amadi slashes it. Michaud, 8 seconds. Can't get the shot off. Andreas interrupted. Now Amadi, 2 seconds. We'll have a 15-minute knockout game tonight. Kansas City wins game 2. A flurry and a furious final couple of minutes, but the Comets hang on for a 6-5 win. That means we are going to have a mini game, a knockout game, after a 15-minute intermission at the Family Arena in St. Charles. Again, we were told that Daniel Torrealba is available for Game 3. Not guaranteed that he will be on the roster, but Torrealba, the top scorer on this Ambush team, Donnie Alberti said he would be available for game number 3. 15-minute intermission and then a 15-minute mini game to determine who goes forward to take on the San Diego Sockers. Knockout game. It's coming up at the Family Arena. Ambush, Comets, for all the marbles on the other side of this intermission on MASL TV.
At St. Luke's Heart and Vascular Institute, we understand that care is more than treatment. It's about living your best life. We're nationally recognized as a top heart care provider in the area, and our proud alliance with Cleveland Clinic's Heart, Vascular, and Thoracic Institute enables St. Luke's to take on the most challenging cases for the highest level of outcomes in St. Louis. St. Luke's Heart and Vascular Institute, a beat above the rest for a life beyond expectations. For a first diagnosis or a second opinion, make an appointment today.
Welcome to the 2026 season of the Major Arena Soccer League's 10 for 10, where we are exploring the influence of indoor soccer on the cusp of the 2026 World Cup. I'm your host, Eric Bergrud. For this week's episode, I'm joined by Bob Lee, retired American sports anchor and reporter, best known for his decades-long career at ESPN and for bringing depth and credibility to soccer coverage in the United States. Welcome to 10 for 10, Bob.
It's great to be here, and thank you for your kind words. Good to be here.
Awesome. Let's get started. So before you became synonymous with thoughtful sports journalism at ESPN, you served as the public address announcer for the New York Cosmos. For viewers who weren't alive during that era, how would you describe the Cosmos brand, what it represented culturally, commercially, and globally?
In the late 70s, it was the hottest ticket in the New York area from the mid to the late 70s. Cosmos were backed by Time Warner money. They, of course, had signed Pelé. They had Franz Beckenbauer, Giorgio Chignaglia. They had Giants Stadium. I grew up just minutes from there, loving soccer from the high school age on. Crowds of 75,000 were normal. They were. You'll love this anecdote, Eric. They were because their corporate connections. They had Bugs Bunny as their mascot roaming the sidelines. And one of my duties as public address announcer was to say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here he is, Bugs Bunny. And Bugs would come out and throw carrots into the crowd. Tickets were so precious in those days. I mean, celebrities would helicopter in the 5 minutes from Manhattan to sit down in the Meadowlands. Tickets were so precious. The guy who portrayed Bugs was once arrested outside of Giant Stadium for scalping his tickets. So they nailed Bugs for scalping his tickets. I mean, you never knew he would. I did the PA for the 1979 season, having already been in the 77 and 78 season ticket holders. So that was kind of a Walter Mitty moment to go from section 134 on the touchline all the way up to the booth in 79. And in fact, the last thing I did in Jersey in 1979, before literally walking out to the parking lot, getting in my car and driving to Connecticut, was to do the PA for Soccer Bowl, the NASL Championship 79 between Tampa Bay and Vancouver. That was already predestined to be played there in New Jersey. So it was this brief moment in time of incredible attraction and happenstance, which then got pished away because of bad financial policies in the early to mid 1980s.
So let's talk about the 80s. You then announced for the MISL's Cleveland Force. What was the atmosphere like in those indoor arenas, and how did the indoor game differ in energy and presentation from what you experienced with the Cosmos outdoors?
Well, I'll tell you, there were a lot of elements that were similar as far as in a contained indoor environment in cold weather cities like Cleveland, where I did a couple of seasons for the Force. Did some things with ESPN for indoor games. It felt very similar in that the promotion, the noise, the just the energy. The indoor game was the only game in town after I did the final NASL outdoor matches of 4 different franchises. I was the Kevorkian of soccer. Circumstance had me in these arenas. The last Cosmos played Chicago Sting. That was their final game. I was the final game for the Tulsa Roughnecks, final game for the Portland Timbers. And point is, if I was coming, you should run. But the indoor game in the mid to latter 1980s was an exciting happenstance of skill, of energy, of just some critics would say a manufactured soccer product, but it was what it was. It was exciting, and these skills were discrete. They were different. Um, but having endured the parochial critics of soccer here in this country, oh, nil nil. What do you mean nil? They say nothing, and game is boring. You would never get a boring indoor soccer game, and you would watch Steve Jungle, or you'd watch the Baltimore Blast, or the Cleveland Force, and to be there, to be encompassed and enveloped in that arena, it was a marvelous feeling.
So let's pivot a little bit from the 80s heading into 1990. You were at ESPN during a time when American soccer was fighting for relevance. How significant was the U.S. men's national team qualification for the 1990 FIFA World Cup, its first in 40 years? And did the broader sports media world grasp the magnitude of that breakthrough at the time?
The answer to your second question is not really. The answer to your first question is cosmic. No pun intended with the cosmos. That goal in 1989 in TNT was enormous because we had already been granted the 1994 World Cup, and so to have the ability to be in the 1990 field, get our ears boxed, frankly, we didn't. We were kind of stepping out of our class, but still, that was an important and a significant, both in truth and in fact, and also by appearances, very important. But I don't think the broader sports media really understood what was happening, and until we got closer and closer to 1994, then suddenly when the 94 Cup came to the U.S., as this, it's a very different country that this Cup is coming to in 26, the 94 Cup, and all of a sudden people, wow, now I know what you're talking about. I get what soccer is about. I get what a full international is. I get the idea of being in a stadium with 70,000 people, and it's just full of color and pageantry and emotion and hope and national pride. But in 94, that was an important inflection point.
So let me ask you a follow-up question related to that. From your vantage point, what role did ESPN play in bringing U.S. men's and women's soccer into the American mainstream? Was there a conscious decision inside the network to invest in the sport, or did it grow more organically alongside events like 1994 men and 1999 women?
You could say organically, or you could probably speak truthfully and say by accident. The champions of international soccer and true believers were few and far between, especially in the early days. So to say that there was any vast mission, and by the way, there's a lot of revisionism going on about this, and I do want to be frank about this. It's a business. So if it made business sense, you were going to invest in it. You were going to buy the rights. You were going to put it on the air. You were going to produce the games, which at no insignificant cost in those days, as long as it made sense fiscally. And it did. It took a while for it to grow. I mean, we had some NASL games on in the early 80s when I first had come to the network. I did a few of those. Then, of course, that network that league folded. But there was a period of quiescence there for a number of years. We'd do the odd qualifier here and there. I can recall going to a qualifier that we did in, I think it was right there in Connecticut against a Central American nation. It might have been Guatemala. Those were the days when you'd have a qualifier and you'd go to it. It didn't have to be Mexico for this to be the case, where the U.S. fans were a fraction of what the opposition fans were, because every national from that opposition team for 150, 300 miles more would descend on the game. So that's where the game was until we approached the 1994 World Cup, ABC and ESPN. People want to credit Fox, and I think they might have beat us to the punch by putting the score box up in the National Football League, but we had that up for the 94 World Cup that summer. Constant time and score clock upper left, and no commercials. People forget the 1990 World Cup on American television that was broadcast. I'm Lewis Turner broadcasting. They took commercial breaks in action. Now, not to point fingers and scream, bloody murder about that, but it just, now we look at it and say, how could you do that? But that's what American television was, a linear product, and you had to stop for commercials. And what we did in 94, and this was very successful, and we weren't in it to lose money. We were trying to make some money, and I'm sure we did, was to have sponsor names in the score box upper left, and every 15 minutes you'd be handed a card when you're doing a game. And this portion of the game was brought to you by American Express or Sony or whatever, or Sears, and that title would change. Things like that continuous action. And of course, the fact that the United States, defeated Switzerland in that first game in '94. That was significant, and certainly the incredible match with Colombia with the own goal, and getting to play Brazil on July 4th. That was cosmic.
You like that word?
Yeah, I guess
it brings back
I
memories
keep
of the
coming back
cosmos,
to it.
for sure.
Yeah, I keep looking in the skies.
That's great. So as we approach the 2026 World Cup on home soil, how different is the American soccer landscape compared to when you first covered the sport nationally? What feels familiar and what feels entirely transformed?
Well, I mean, obviously the national team programs are in totally different places. It's commonplace for American nationals to be playing on the top teams in the top leagues. Back in the day, 25, 30 years ago, these were unicorns like John Harkes or Casey Keller, carving out discreet and very jealously guarded roster spots and jobs in Europe and whatnot. Now, the player pool. I mean, the player pool back even in the 80s was in early 90s was pretty well defined. 30, 35 guys, and you'd get your 18 or 24 from them. Now, of course, the administrators of the program have dozens and dozens of players from which to choose, and it's a much deeper pool. Culturally, it's very different. I mean, back in the day, 30 years ago, if you wanted to watch European soccer, you'd watch it on tape, probably on PBS on Sunday mornings. Now, if you live in the U.S., and then you'll have to spend a few dollars to do it between Peacock and Paramount and whatnot, but you can see any game in the world you want live, pretty much. That was not the case. And as a result, there's a cultural understanding of what the game is, and I think an understanding of what a World Cup is about. I will say, though, that I have been surprised at how quiet culturally and commercially this country has been approaching the World Cup. And I'm not alone in that sentiment, talking to a number of people I've worked with in the field who are conversant and still working in the field, that, it's going to come. It's going to be a major event. It's going to be hosted in 3 nations. Hopefully Iran is able to send their team here, and I'm sure they will by the end of the day. By the way, I'm the guy that broadcast the U.S.-Iran match in 1998 in France. I can talk about that if you want. But I am a little surprised that it's not really at a fuller boil at this point, as you and I are talking in early March.
Yeah. So final question for you, Bob. When historians look back at this era, what do you hope they say about the intertwined roles of indoor soccer, media platforms like ESPN, and the generations who kept the sport visible during its lean years?
I think that's a great question, Eric. I think that there is going to be a recognition of those periods of time when you want to talk about outdoor soccer and the national team program and the profile of the sport in this country, where it waxed and it waned, and when, thank goodness, there are enterprises such as indoor soccer to keep the enthusiasm and the profile of the game alive, and actually to provide some crossover stars that would take their indoor skills and move them outdoors and vice versa. And it, as this nation hosts its World Cup, and once again, not everybody who's going to celebrate this World Cup in 26 has any working memories of the '94 World Cup, but it was a long road to get to '94 with many diversions and pit stops along the way. And indoor soccer was one of those great forces to help keep it alive. And similarly, from '94 here to 26, it has not been a straight line. And to those that kept the faith, I think everybody in the game deserves to give them a big thank you.
Well, thank you, Bob, for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another episode of 10 for 10.
Thank you to Eric Bergrud and Bob Lee, the legendary ESPN commentator, 10 for 10. Check it out at MASL Arena across social media. Well, the Ambush and the Kansas City Comets are going to a knockout game, a 15-minute mini game Winner take all to face San Diego, and the ambush, yes, have Daniel Torrealba on the roster. Look back at game number 2 of the series that we just finished about 15 minutes ago. Ambush lost it 6-5 despite building an early 2-1 lead. Just did not hold. Kansas City made it 5-5 at one point late. And then Ron Marquez had a game winner. St. Louis fell a little bit short despite an overall about an all-right performance. Good positives out there, nothing to be ashamed of. Just a Kansas City team finding its stride to stay alive.
Yeah, it really was a rough game for the Ambush. Couldn't really lock into their game. And unfortunately, they let the Comets play their game and just able to leg them out. Some really incredible finishing from the Comets as well. Pino into the corner, Nacho from out long distance. Some incredible finishing from the Comets. Really, we know the game plan the Ambush have to win this mini game, but we also know the Comets have come to play with their big names as well.
Ambush got a goal from SK and a goal from Tagba 13 seconds apart in the fourth to make it 5-5.
The man Marquez.
Things looked bad for KC until the potential MVP, Ron Marquez, bailed him out.
Yes, kind of dunks on Christian Briggs there, unfortunately, for the man.
Rion, the hero of game 2 for KC, and now the Ambush prep for game number 3.
Changing of the lineups here, Joey, like we said, we can see a lineup change. Right now, the Comets making just one change. Nathan Dirtle, the sophomore from Columbia, Missouri, he is going to head to the bench. He will be replaced by Ali Alamari. The midfielder will come in and give a little bit more of an offensive punch to this Comets lineup. On the other side, the Ambush making 3 changes as Daniel Torrealba, Axel Chacunte, and Ozzy Santana are going to be in the lineup for the Ambush here in this second game. Changing things up are the Ambush.
All part of the plan, all 3 guys in the arena. Torrealba out, personal reasons, game 1. Then for game number 2, Donnie Alberti telling us the coaching staff said, hey, we won 9-4. We're going to keep the lineup the same. Now bringing in not just the top scorer, Torrealba, but also the clever and speedy Ozzy Santana, who's been a difference maker in the second half of the season, and Axel Chacunte, who's come out big in some big moments.
And it's key here, Joey. This is interesting to me, who they took out of this game. It looks to me like we have seen Colin O'Keefe, James Thomas, and this one's a little bit surprising to me, Mario Falzone are all hitting the bench for the St. Louis Ambush.
Now as we kind of shuffle the cards here and keep track of it all, I do believe O'Keefe is still active.
Sorry, no, O'Keefe is still in there, my apologies. Murshad Ahmadi is the third replacement for the Ambush. Colin O'Keefe still in the lineup, my apologies.
You're right, though. Interesting to see who they put on the bench for this 15-minute.
Amadi Thomas Falzone, all offensive players, replaced by Chacunte, Santana, and Torrealba. 2 of the 3 very offensive players. Chacunte, kind of a hybrid for this Ambush roster.
This is guaranteed to go a full 15. It is not a golden goal. This is like its own separate game with the score starting at 0-0. If we are tied at the end of 15, then we go to golden goal, sudden death overtime. There will be no shootouts tonight. Those overtimes continue ad infinitum until somebody scores and somebody wins. We'll play a full 15, though. See if the Ambush can get it done. Game number 3 of a 3-game series. Winner gets the Sockers in the semis. Ambush with Ozzy, Yuri, SK, Tagba, Briggs, and Paulo. Paulo as fired up as anybody. They've stuck with Neto on the other side, played well game 1 tonight, game 2 overall. Did have some tightness, it looked like. They're still going with Neto as SK gets the ball rolled back from Yuri. We are underway. Ambush in the teal. Casey in the white. Ambush at the controls to start this 15-minute knockout game. Yuri past Pino. Jabs it off the wall. Stankovic goes for it. SK wins it back. Trying to nudge to Santana. Ozzy with the help of SK. Chipping it away. Briggs trying to scrape it loose. Ramirez went down. The foul against Ozzy Santana, his first of the night in either game. And Kansas City gets the ball. Tetsane, the only man who drew a blue card for the white and blue in the first game of the night. Over to Pino. And Torrealba gets his first shift. And Torrealba making the sign of the cross and looking skyward. He bumps into Francis, now gives him a little push, says, get out of my way. And Torrealba rocking the
These two teams are ridiculous.
white hair with the raspberry stripe.
It's so unnecessary.
There's always friction when the Ambush and the Comets meet, right?
It's funny, too, because it's Torrealba who's from Venezuela and a guy from England who are just brought into this St. Louis-Kansas City rivalry, and somehow they embody it. Really speaks to what rivalries can do in this sport.
Best rivalry in indoor soccer, the
mean,
I-70 series.
When else is a Venezuelan and English guy going to get that kind of chippiness?
And Reyes trying to spring Souza. Tagba sniffs it out. James.
What a play.
Riviolette's it a little bit too far. Vandegrift hoovers it away. Kansas City trying to go in transition. Souza slows it up.
Ambush trying to get two buddies switched on.
Marquez. Bad pass. Torrealba right there to intercept.
Oh, Daniel.
He's tripped.
Got to move the ball.
The Ambush will set up for a free kick on the defensive end. 1:45 into the mini game, the knockout game.
This team is here because they started moving the ball in those moments. This team has made that game close in the second game because they kept moving the ball in those moments.
Fluttered over the top, intended for Gates. Towed away by Quito. Challenge against Alamari, the new guy on the field for Kansas City, and the foul gives it back to KC. Nacho restarts it for them. 0-0, 2 minutes in. Game 3 of 3.
You surprised the Ambush put 3 new players out there, Joey? A little change of pace there, but going up against a team that's dialed in like the Comets are, or do you think it's all about fatigue?
It could be a combination of those two. I know that Jeff and Donnie, the entire staff, Jamie Swanner, they've always got a contingency. Lamari back through Nacho. Bad hit from Neto.
That could be crucial. Colin O'Keefe wants the restart higher up on the field after Neto was the one who put it in there.
Paulo out of the backfield. Vandegrift, unicorn horn. Ramirez got in front of SK. Briggs, hot air balloon. Uri plucks it down. Haliman dismisses it. Good win from Michaud. Uri lets it bounce off the wall. Took an interesting bounce. Almost squeezed through to Ozzy and Michaud. Briggs again, loop-de-loop. This one clearly over the glass. Williamson will come back on, as will Tagba and O'Keefe.
Of course, Williamson coming on to shadow Zach Reggett. Always so dangerous in those one-on-one moments here as the Comets will start one of their first attacks after 3 minutes elapse here in this knockout game.
30-year-old Reggett held scoreless. O'Keefe and Santana trying to win it back. Tetsane on the ball. Switched over to Neto. Lenis, back heel, wanted Souza, gets bumped forward to Reggett. Back from Lenis, pass offline. Almeida on the steal, Santana on the steal, and Santana, he ultimately goes down to the top of the bow and arrow. Foul on Casey. 11:26 remaining in the 15-minute knockout. Game number 3, MASL quarterfinal playoffs. Ambush 0, Comet 0.
Paolo was not too happy with the options that his teammates were giving him on that restart.
Wanted Chikunte downfield. Torrealba, who had 36 points in the regular season, back on the field for a second shift. Martinez steps in front of this on the board. He scrambles for it. Had to rush. Gave it right to Vandegrift. Now Torrealba Off his head, falls Rando Reyes. Rion, deflected by Briggs, stolen by Torrealba. Chacunte, out wide. Axel, stolen by Rion, who won't give it back. Pino, another bad hit from KC. Wanted Reget. Ambush take it over right by the Clover sign on the defensive end. Won game 1 on Monday 9-4. Lost the first game tonight 6-5 to get us here. Ramirez. Those fans are really busy right in that section, aren't they? Gates, clever turnage. Water falls down for Tagba, who absorbs a shot from Alamari, and the referee does come through with the right call. Tweety Bird blows. Torrealba.
Loves that left side, but teams know it, and they're going to force him outside every time.
Torrealba off the cardboard.
Watch the defense getting clumped up there.
Ramirez goes down, no whistle. SK turning the tide. Gates off the wall. Torrealba swivels it back through Big Rob. Under 10 to go in this 15-minute knockout game.
Riley Uri with the speed calling for it. Torrealba, I mean, he's got to come to with something more than just getting to the left side and cutting into his right foot. He's got to add more, or else teams are just going to sit on that one play. And unless the ambush can figure out a counter,
Quito. Kick save Neto. Quito scored the opener in game number 2 of this series. Why not game number 3 as well? Deshaun works back to one. Paulo to Uri trying to catch Kansas City. Uri blocked by Stankovic. Pinballs over to Souza. Martinez intervenes, gets it back to Paulo. Ramirez forward Ozzy. Santana spinning. Good move, left foot. Pulls a hopeful shot. Now gets in against Pino. Pino half spin cycles him. Williamson steps 2 against Francis. Big Rob.
Perfect pass.
O'Keefe, left foot, ambush lead!
Perfect pass from Rob. Big Rob, big moment, big play.
O'Keefe hugging Big Rob Williamson and Paulo. Ambush, a 1-0 advantage.
Ref's got a red flag in his hand, though, Joey.
Kansas City is challenging a foul before the goal. That causes a turnover of possession.
Ibarra letting us know. Casey challenging this for a foul on the turnover. Video replay brought to us by Window World. Wilkins and Ibarra over to look at it.
And Santana, what a spin there, Joey.
And he just let it loose way too early. And this was Ozzy Santana just plucking in the ball and picking in the ball, trying to win it against Pino. I think what they're hoping for is a foul against Big Rob there against Dom Francis.
If that's a foul, then we got to go back and play game 2 and call about 15 more.
Get your time machine ready. No, I don't think you have to get it ready. I doubt they're going to call it a foul. The ruling on the field is goal. And I'm not seeing near enough from Williamson. He's just stepping to a ball.
I mean, no one has control of that one. That thing's free. That thing's free. There's
that's easy.
That's
an easy call.
Yeah,
no
that
foul.
is an easy call. Rob's all there before the Kansas City player. No problem there. This goal should stand ambush. Should have a 1-0 lead with 8:37 left to protect.
Now, unless they're looking at anything from Ozzy against Pino.
I mean, he's physical
they're
though,
looking
but he's physical
at the Rob
though,
Williamson.
But he does exactly what you have to do. Get a little physical with the upper bodies. Match your man.
Here's your call.
Get your leg in there. Nothing physical.
After video review, the decision on the field is confirmed. We have a goal.
Yes, sir.
Kansas City loses their challenge.
Ambush get on the scoreboard and take the challenge flag away from Kansas City to boot. All right. Nick Hesley, our biggest fan, cheering on. Jeff Locker and the guys fired up. Colin O'Keefe on the finish. Rob Williamson on the setup. O'Keefe, the 28-year-old out of Buffalo, New York, fed by Robert Williamson out of Fishkill, New York. The New Yorkers making it 1-0 St. Louis Ambush. Now into Ramos. Tetsane. Kansas City looking to respond. Back out to Nacho. Tetsane. Ambush have now scored 4 of the last 5 goals tonight, dating back to the 4th quarter of our previous game. Rian Marquez has scored the only other one. He slithered by Briggs, and Briggs took him down. Now, Rian was saying I was going in for a breakaway. It's probably looking for a little bit too much, but certainly given the foul. Martinez wisely fronts the ball, lest Kansas City wants to go quickly. Tetsane's on it, 3 on the wall for St. Louis.
Similar plays, although a little bit closer than this one. Put the Ambush, or put the Comets 2 goals on the board earlier today in game number 1 of the night. Can they get one here?
Nacho to Tetsane. SK sticks himself in front of it. Comes out of the stratosphere to Paulo. Out of his basket to Martinez. Marquez goes back to the bench, as does Reagat. And Ramos and Souza back on. Williamson flooding forward with SK. SK off the wall. Paddled by Neto. SK a second opportunity. He goes down side box, no whistle. And that was off of Andreo's last. He was inside the yellow line as well. So the Ambush will take this right to the top of the arc. 7:29 to go in the 15-minute knockout game. Torrealba! No, they're going to say it doesn't count. Oh, Torrealba drops to his knees in disbelief.
Full surrender, Cobra there.
Bar down. But it's just a memory. Score stays 1-0.
I guess they're going to say they didn't give him the go-ahead, and the restart dies just as shortly as it lived.
Almeida to Torrealba, hits it into Hollyman. Hollyman had to get the wind knocked out of him on that one. He goes down slightly, and they'll stop it for injury. He was getting back up, and SK was saying, why didn't you let us keep going? Frustration with the referees has been a theme on both sides tonight. Hollyman heads back to the bench. Took that one square on the shot from Torrealba.
Trickiness of those quick restarts. They have such a low percentage of actually being legal, Joey.
Almeida to Briggs on this restart. Rips it just wide. Off to Neto's left. Torrealba still in the field. Toe pokes this back. Paulo, that ball had a little spice to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he didn't just sit on that one.
Hit it back to Torrealba, who hits it long. 3-line pass. And we will have to face a good setup for KC on the gold line. 7:09. O'Keefe has scored on a feed from Williamson. Only goal of this 15-minute knockout game so far. Ambush up. Tetsane. Francis. Left foot Polo! Diving save! Again, Francis. Jackrabbits one wide. Francis comes busting through. Gates wins it. Emails downfield for Martinez. Isolated against Tetsane. Tries to stop and go. Michaud catching up on the other side. Martinez cleverly goes back up the board.
Masterful moves. Masterful moves by Randy Martinez.
Magnificent save on the other side as well by Paulo. Now Reagat challenges against O'Keefe. Basically falls on the ball and calls his own foul. 6:38. If these teams are tied at the end of 15, we go to sudden death overtime. Over the top, Tetsane. Marquez trying to bully Williamson. Ozzy pries it away. Souza, mishit, way over the goal. Thanks to Alyssa and Justin for getting that ball back behind Paulo. Goalkeeper distribution right in front of the Spirit of St. Louis dancers. Thanks to all the halftime, pregame entertainment tonight. Briggs, just a little too bouncy here over the glass. Santana goes back to the bench. Vandegrift guides it forward. He and Pino out of the back for KC.
Torrealba shading over to that side from the middle. Shading side to side, I should say. Zach Reget versus versus Christian Briggs going to be big. Francis on Will Eske on the weak side now.
KC looking for the equalizer. Lennis back to the lily pad for Vandegrift. Pino out of the referee's crease. From the Badlands. Tetsane off the bench to try to quarterback things. 5:14 left. Ambush 1, KC 0. Tetsane from the outskirts. To his left foot. Yuri switches on. Lennis. Back to Tetsane, pursued by Yuri.
Such an important defensive switch there by Yuri to take him over Torrealba. Completely different defensive matchup for the ambush.
He's giving the business to Tetsane, saying, hey, I want some more of this. Kansas City for the better part of a minute. Hardly gains an inch. The energetic Yuri anchoring the defense up top. Ball played toward Marquez. Wrapped up. Oh, shot by Andreas. Stoned by Paulo. Holy moly. Throw a brick through your geology professor's windshield. Let's get stoned, baby. 2 big-time saves from Paulo. Axel Chacunte fouling Reagan. It's probably a soft foul, but Reagan went to the floor before Martinez could scurry away. Paulo, the MASL Goalkeeper of the Year. Certainly he's a finalist. In my book, he's the best in the business, has been since he's joined the ambush back in 17. 2 huge saves. Latest one basically from point-blank range against Andreas after Marquez was defended pretty well by Togba, the much smaller Togba. Now it's Williamson, somebody of his own size on Marquez. He backheel drags one. Andreas stepping over O'Keefe. Tries to scimitar it away. Marquez challenged by Quito. Quito and him collided legs. Quito.
He really got that leg in there.
A little gingerly here. 3:28 to go. Ambush up by 1 in this 15-minute knockout game. Martinez looking to win one against Tetsane. Tetsane courageously fights one to the outside of Marquez.
It's the second time.
Gates, it should be a blue card. It is a foul.
The second time Gates has gotten stiff-armed.
And it is a blue card.
And they have to keep up the precedent. If you're going to full-on stiff-arm a player trying to ward off a defender, you're going to get the blue card. Rian Marquez clearly full-armed John Gates. And that's a man who knows how the indoor game is played in Mr. Gates.
Elbow him to the turf. You'll see the card that looks like a Smurf. And Marquez should be the first one in the box in this knockout game.
Calling the field is Kansas City, number 26. 2-minute power play for contact above the shoulder. We're going to review the play.
Rian waiting for him to turn off the mic to implore, and the official wants no part of it.
Between the 2 games, we've had 3 penalties. Every single one of them has been for contact above the shoulders.
Yep.
2 against KC, 1 against St. Louis.
We can't see it right now, but center of the field, Donnie Alberti getting very animated with the official. I think he's fighting his point, to your point, Joey, that there has been a lot of contact above the shoulders. And you weren't here, but this series has had a lot of contact above the shoulders. First game of this series earlier this year, Joey, we had a Comets player pretty fragrantly elbow one of the ambush players right in the nose on a restart, just right in the back. And so a little too much head injury, head contact
and that was
in this lineup as we head through game number 8.5, I guess, with these teams. Or 8 1/4. 8 1/4.
8 and almost a quarter.
There you go.
That was you and Mark Moser on the call way
Yes.
back on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. That's when we started the regular season.
First game of the season.
St.
I mean, it
Louis
was like
at Kansas
the
City.
second quarter.
The
and
first game
bang,
of the MASL season.
popped him.
And it looked like Marquez pretty clearly popped Gates there. Calling the field is a blue card. Let's see if it's confirmed.
After review, the decision on the field stands. St. Louis is not charged with the challenge.
Set a precedent, hold to it. That's good officiating. If you're going to full-arm stiff-arm a guy in the face, let alone a full-arm stiff-arm and warding a guy off in the chest, we're going to throw the blue card. Ambush, half to close this game out. 2 minutes with the power play. They're 0 for 5 in the last 2 games with a man up against the Comets. Can they finally take advantage of a 5v4 and potentially put this series in their hands?
Will they seal the deal with potential league MVP Riyad Marquez on Exile Island? Ambush do retain the challenge flag. Kansas City does not have theirs. Each team does get a couple of timeouts, even though it's a 15-minute game. Each team does get a couple of timeouts, so keep your eyes open for that in this final 3:17. Ambush 1, Comets 0. Ambush a few minutes away from advancing to the semifinal round against the San Diego Sockers. SK and Michaud. How much of this is just going to be about milking time and how much of it is about going for the insurance goal?
You got to get the goal. I mean, you have the opportunity. You were pushing a little bit before. You have to get the goal here. Don't push too much. Don't put yourself in a spot to get caught for a shorthanded goal. But don't waste this opportunity to give yourself an advantage. This is arena soccer, Joey. A goal can happen as quick as that. 2 minutes from now, or I guess a minute 21 from now, will still be over a minute of time for the Comets to play with to try to tie this game up. There's no way you give them that chance. You can't just kill time here. You can kill a little bit of time, but you have to put a couple of shots on goal.
Well, killed almost an entire minute to start the power play. KC tried to make the ambush speed up. SK and Michaud still in no hurry. Briggs is down low, gets it from Michaud, and immediately slots it back to the center line where SK tracks it down. Ramirez, Pesky, Michaud to Briggs. Back to SK. Chile over to Torrealba. 45 seconds left in the power play. Michaud.
Like right now, Torrealba, why is he not making a diagonal run to the middle, Joey?
Michaud cranks one back post. Well, it goes to Torrealba. Ambush elected just squeegee more water off the time.
Almeida did sneak into the back post there, and Michaud tried to find him either with a shot himself or with a potential rebound. But why no? We saw so many beautiful diagonal runs by the Comets throughout this entire game. Where are the ambush diagonal runs? There we go.
Briggs!
And there we go!
Christian Briggs! Finding the net like a ChatGPT addicted butterfly catcher. Slams it home, his second of the night, his first of the game. The power play goal should send the ambush on through to face San Diego.
He's had St. Louis on his jersey since he was a teenager, Joey. And here he is showing out, getting one of the potentially biggest wins in franchise history. They've taken a 2-0 lead with a minute 32 to play in this knockout game. The ambush, 92 seconds and some good defense away from downing their rivals.
Only guy marking him was the referee, Wilkins, in the corner. And all that passing up top kind of drew Kansas City out. And Briggs, from a tight angle in the corner, gets the goal. And now the sixth attacker in the form of Reagit comes on.
Colin O'Keefe telling everyone, talk, communicate. 6 versus 5 for 92 seconds. Casey has scored tonight when they were a man up on a regular power play. Here they are a man up now. Can the ambush survive?
Played basically the entire fourth quarter with the 6th attacker.
Scored 3 goals.
In game number 1. Briggs, tripped by Williamson, 1:13 left. Ambush 2, Comets 0. That's Reagan with the extra attacker jersey in the red. Goal empty behind him. They play it to Reagan. Tetsane. Kansas City clockwork set, and Paulo will fall on it. Shot from Lennis, nothing doing, under a minute. Ambush on the cusp of advancing in the MASL playoffs. Paulo calls a timeout.
Rob Williamson was talking to Rian Marquez, who did not want to hear a word from him. The ambush will talk things over now. Coach Locker has everyone the board. You see the players who played game 1 but sat out this game 2, as well as celebrating with some of their injured players. Both DeDuca Carvalho and Robbie Cristo in a boot are in the building tonight. Also, former Spanish language broadcaster for your ambush, Santi, also the Spanish language broadcaster for the St. Louis City SC, also in the building. We got some big names in the building tonight for a potentially big St. Louis ambush win. How do you know we were talking about him?
He's
Santi
waving to us. Santi, hello.
Just turned around to us as we were mentioning him on the broadcast. And there's Santi right there on the broadcast. The big guy. We love Santi, one of our favorites. Big ambush fan, one of the stalwarts of St. Louis soccer in this city, and he's here in the fan side of things. He gets to cheer like we don't, Joey.
Well, we do a little cheering.
We're impartial.
Rock,
No, we're impartial.
I know the advanced metrics say we're one of the 5 most objective broadcasts in the MASL, but that's a shorter list than you think. Paulo gets the ball back after the timeout by the ambush. 53.8 seconds to go.
I dare say we easily become the most informative about non-soccer topics as well. History, movies, some math every once in a while.
Text message ends up right with Reagan. Lennis chips it. Marquez tries to head it home. SK trying to get a boot on it. Gets it out, ladles it over the halfway line, and it does take an errant bounce into the penalty box. So 36 seconds to go. KC down by 2. This will be the first time the ambush have advanced to the semifinals since the franchise came back here in St. Charles in 2013. Closing moments. It squirts through. Oh, my Lord! DeBrian Francis! Oh! Stop in traffic like a nudist customer in the Brentwood Target parking lot. And the free kick afterward, the corner kick, gets hit high in the upper 90 by Reagan. Now Tetsane tries. Williamson blocks it. Reagan's down. Final 10 seconds. Bull drizzles to the other side. And they'll stop it for Reagan with 9. What a save from Paulo. He's still fired up. He's mad they stopped play. Reagan, who's been dealing with that lower left leg, ankle or foot all night. Very slow to get up. Looks like he wants to get up. Tetsane, last gasp for KC. Williamson wins the header. O'Keefe pelotons it. And there's another whistle that stops it with 5. And it looks like the ambush bench is the latest to be upset that play was stopped. Athletic trainer is on the field. And Reagan is once again crouched down to the midway line.
And really, Joey, considering first time they've made it to the semifinals, the first round bye would have given them automatic berth to the semifinals. What they lost on the last day of the regular season, going into the fourth quarter with the title in hand, they would eventually lose the title in the fourth quarter in that game against the Strikers. So they don't win the MLS regular season title. Fine, we have to play the first round. Don't worry, we have home field advantage.
Red Hanky on the floor.
St. Louis is challenging for a rules violation. However, by rule, this particular play is not challengeable.
There we go. So what happens after that? The ambush say, okay, we're not the winners. We got to come back. What do? We win big on Monday night, set themselves up. Then what happens early tonight? They can't get the game going out of the gate in the second half. They're down 5-2 after getting 4 scored on them. Potentially the momentum turning against you, the season turning against you. What do? They come back and are leading 2-0 with 6 seconds left. Multiple times, this semifinals berth was there, and they couldn't do it here. They're going to do it.
The ambush. Paulo bashes it away. Let's go to the semis, baby!
First time in team history since 2013 when they came back. The St. Louis Ambush are 1 step away from the Ron Newman Cup Finals.
A 2-0 knockout game win. O'Keefe and Briggs score, and the guys hug with Paulo in the box. What a fantastic moment for this franchise. Long awaited. A group that was an underdog coming into the season, challenge for the Supporters Shield all the way to the last game of the year, and now one of 4 left standing in the Ron Newman Cup playoffs. Guarantees we'll be back here on the 17th against San Diego, the top overall seed.
Unbelievable for the ambush. And we talk about the long 13-year path to get here from 2013. But that man, Donnie Alberti, waving to the fans, the 5-year run that we've seen, Joey, with Donnie Alberti, head coach Jeff Locker, what they have done over the last 5 years, building this organization up. They have the base players, Lucas Almeida, Robbie Quisto, Duduca Carvalho, Will Eske, guys who have been here, Christian Briggs, for over the last 5 years, of course. Paulo, what these guys have meant, putting together Defender of the Year campaigns, Player of the Year campaigns, Goalkeeper of the Year campaigns, guys like Will Eske, who had to be the leading scorer of this team for multiple years until finally the talent level rose up and he was able to take a secondary role. But when time matters, he's still the most talented player on this team, and he proved it over the last 2 days for the St. Louis Ambush. A monumental win for this team, for this franchise, for this group of people.
Paulo gets his 12th overall win of the year. It's a clean sheet. He is the Under the Yellow Umbrella Cutting Edge Player of the Game after a 15-minute knockout game win. Game 1 of this series was on Monday. Ambush won it running away 9-4. Hard fought game number 2 earlier tonight. Kansas City snuck away with a 6-5 victory. Took a short break, came back for the 15-minute knockout minigame, and the Ambush got an early goal from O'Keefe, then an insurance goal late from Christian Briggs to win it 2-0.
So many times, Joey, a 4-0 run by the Comets would have ended the game. And we've seen many times it ended games against the St. Louis Ambush. But when they were down 5-2, this Ambush team fought back to a 5-5 game. And it might not have mattered. They still lost that game, Joey. But that fight back from 5-2 to 5-5, that I firmly believe is the reason why they were able to put things together, change up the roster, and come back and dominate these 15 minutes for a 2-0 win. Without that resilience, which has been the Ambush's calling card this entire season, they do not win this game. It's been the calling card this season. It's the calling card again tonight. Again, a huge win. Congratulations to Locker and everybody out there. Paulo, Goalkeeper of the Year. I know it's a regular season award, but after tonight, Joey, how do you not give it to him?
Well, maybe he ends up as the MVP of the playoffs. He should be the MVP of today. And I think you're absolutely spot on. Got the momentum back, got the joy back after falling behind 5-2 by tying it up 5-5. We've got Angela Sharp on Axios Field with James Togwell. Let's go down to them.
All right, we got to talk about this. That first game, you guys had us worried, but you ended up coming back in that mini game. What was the conversation in between those 2 games?
Going back to our game plan, trusting each other and fighting for each other like we've been doing all season long. Don't change the script and just, dig deep, and that's what we did.
Now, obviously, Kansas City put up a huge fight against you guys. You guys are going on into the next round of this. It's only going to get tougher. What are your plans for that next round?
No, Kansas City is a good team. It's a great first-round game to prepare for the next stage. These are playoff games. They're not easy. So we just got to, again, trust the plan from day one, fight for each other, and dig deep every battle, every quarter, every half, and stick to the plan. We'll win it.
I love it. I love that you're digging down deep to do this. can you hear this home team, the fans, cheering for you guys, even when you're down a couple goals?
Oh, no, trust me, it make a big difference when you have these amount of loyal fans behind your back and just cheering you on from the first whistle to the last one, you know. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. Best fan in the league, Ambush Nation!
Back to you guys.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Angela. Ambush on to the semis. We'll preview the matchup against San Diego on the other side of this break. It's the St. Louis Ambush advancing in the Ron Newman Cup playoffs on MASL TV.
Jefferson Starship, the Runaway Again Tour. Saturday, September 26th, the Family Arena. Also featuring Atlanta Rhythm Section, Firefall, and Orleans. Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Jefferson Starship, featuring Atlanta Rhythm Section, Firefall, and Orleans.
Take control. Make a healthy change. Maintain a healthy weight. Exercise regularly. Don't smoke or use smokeless tobacco. Eat a healthy diet. Limit alcohol. Protect yourself from the sun and avoid tanning beds. Protect against sexually transmitted infections. Get screening tests. For more 8 Ways tips, visit siteman.woostel.edu/take control.
Ambush victorious in the knockout minigame, advancing to the semis against San Diego. We've got Angela Sharp with Paulo Nascimento, the star goalie for the St. Louis Ambush.
That is right. I have that star goalie right here. You know, people who score goals always get the credit, but you have kept this team in this game, previous games, time and time again. I was sitting down there when they had a short, and you jumped up and you hit it. How are you able to keep focused on a game like this where the first game got out of hand?
It's very hard. Like KC always like a tough opponent, and that brings energy more. And I couldn't do better. Couldn't be better. Like our rivals in home. We lost the game, but we come back. We have a really good locker room over there. Everybody support each other. Then you are able to get back and just be part of the team. The team is great. I love that team so much.
I know you love this team so much. You've been on this team for a little while. People are so impressed with your athleticism. How are you going to prepare for the next round?
Right now, good day for rest. Try to recover the energy. The recovery has gotten slow. But I'll be back. I'll be back next Friday. I'll be 100%. And we'll have Poyo, we'll have Jose, we'll have great goalies. And it's a teamwork. That's I think the best season so far. But we don't stop now. We're going to keep going. More and more.
I love hearing that. We're going to keep going more and more. And you can hear this home team could cheer for you.
Thanks so much, everybody, guys. I hope to see everybody on Friday. It's going to be another battle. And I need every single one to support us.
Love hearing that. Thank you so much. And congratulations, you, sir.
Thanks so much.
Back to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you to Paulo. Thank you to Angela. Ambush, with this victory tonight, advanced to the semifinals against the San Diego Sockers. You'll be able to catch Game 1 right here at the Family Arena on Friday, April 17th. Just like Paulo said, it's a 7 p.m. start against the Sockers. Skip the fees by purchasing direct at the arena box office. Ambush win the mini game, final score 2-0. 7 shots on goal each side. Paulo pitches the shutout as the Ambush advance, and Kansas City goes home for the offseason. So many people to thank tonight. Ownership, Jeff Locker, Shelley Clark, John Elam, Marty Bustler, Amber Pickett, Justin MG, Lauren MG, Christopher Long, Andy Conan, John Mead, Braden Proctor, John Pagano, Joe Duvall. Ambush win it after dropping game 2. Win the mini game against KC. Final score of 2-0 to win the series. Rock, what can we expect against San Diego?
It's a tough team. They won this league and they've won championships for a reason. They put together a squad that plays well together and plays their system. Salvaggio has that thing dialed in. Toth is healthy between the nets again. It's going to be tricky for the Ambush to keep on moving.
Ambush Soccers, we'll talk to you on the 17th. For Matt Rocchio, I'm Joey Zanaboni saying so long for now. It's an Ambush Series winner on MASL TV.
Here's what I'm thinking about the living room. Double hung windows are classics, but what do you think about casement windows? Or maybe sliding windows? Or even a big bay window? With all the styles Window World offers, I've got tons of options that match my taste and budget perfectly.
Which will you choose?
I might need another house or 2.
The Post Sports Bar and Grill. Use promo code AMBUSH online for a buy one, get one free cheesesteak. The Post Sports Bar and Grill. Stay posted.
At St. Luke's Heart and Vascular Institute, we understand that care is more than treatment. It's about living your best life. We're nationally recognized as a top heart care provider in the area, and our proud alliance with Cleveland Clinic's Heart, Vascular, and Thoracic Institute enables St. Luke's to take on the most challenging cases for the highest level of outcomes in St. Louis. St. Luke's Heart and Vascular Institute, a beat above the rest for a life beyond expectations. For a first diagnosis or a second opinion, make an appointment today.